I'm in the world but not of it. I praise God every day and I love it. I say what I want and I say what they want. I stand for the truth and what's right and they don't. Life is simple, it's no puzzle. Common sense will tell you not to wear a muzzle. Fear no evil, trust no people. When in doubt, shout, I'm a believer. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me.
I offend everybody, the left, right, in the middle. Blame my parents because I've been this way since I was little. It used to be normal, now everybody praying to crystals. No wonder why it's so easy for the devil to trick you. They treat you like dogs, putting muzzles all on your faces, forcing kids to wear them in schools. Doesn't this seem outrageous? They ban Bible scriptures on TikTok.
Let's go to Target! Let's go to Target! Get some PlayStations! Let's go to Target!
I'm in the world but not of it. I praise God every day and I love it. I say what I want and I say what they want. I stand for the truth and what's right and they don't. Life is simple, it's no puzzle. Common sense will tell you not to wear a muzzle. Fear no evil, trust no people. When in doubt, shout, I'm a believer. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me.
I offend everybody, the left, right, in the middle. Blame my parents because I've been this way since I was little. It used to be normal, now everybody praying to crystals. No wonder why it's so easy for the devil to trick you. They treat you like dogs, putting muzzles all on your faces, forcing kids to wear them in schools. Doesn't this seem outrageous? They ban Bible scriptures on TikTok.
Let's go to Target! Let's go to Target! Get some PlayStations! Let's go to Target!
Stop. I got it. What up? Welcome to the Dreaded Conservative Show. It's Monday night. We're kicking the week off right. Oh, wow. You used to be a hippie. We're breaking all the rules today. Because it's the 3-year anniversary show. We might even do something a little different tonight. We might watch the openings of this debate that's happening right now. Because I usually always react to these Uncensored America debates. And there's one going on right now. Well, it's starting soon, but it's the 3-year anniversary of the show. 3 years. Every week, every Monday night for 3 years. Wow. Really great show. 3 years. No, I never used to be a hippie. I've always hated hippies. All my life I've hated hippies. Just because I had dreadlocks doesn't mean I was a hippie. Samson had dreadlocks. He wasn't a hippie. Jesus Christ had dreads, so shake them. I ain't got none, but I used to be growing some. No, I was never a hippie. Can't stand hippies. What is on the plan today? 3-year anniversary. Maybe in the last little bit, we'll just look back at the 3 years of awesomeness. Dude, where did these freaking ants come from? We got ants, Echo. Go eat them. Go eat the ants. There must be some sort of snacky snack fell behind my bed or something, because there's ants in that room. 3-year anniversary of the show. We're going to talk about, how do I say this? Virginia Guiffre, something like that. Did not kill herself. You know, just like Epstein. Shocker. One of the biggest Epstein accusers commit suicide. Huh. Isn't that odd? We'll look into that. We got 100 illegals arrested at a nightclub and other deportation news. Not so much immigration news. I was going to say it was immigration news, but it's not immigration news. It's exigration news. It's de-immigration. It's deportation news. Stories of deportations going on. It's funny. I'll talk about it in a little bit. I'll talk about the funny part in a little bit. But and then we got a bunch of vehicle incidents. We got 100 vehicles, or a Vancouver car accident. They say it's the darkest day in Vancouver history. A car crashed into a crowd in Vancouver. They're saying there was not terrorism or anything like that. I don't know what happened. We'll look into the story here in a bit. But then there was a mass casualty incident in Clearwater, Florida, with a boat incident. So we'll look at those two stories. And then a bunch of stories in rapid fire news. Not a lot of big, impactful events this week. As far as, like, I'm thinking back through the week. Nothing like big and impactful happened. A lot of still more of the same. The stuff with the tariffs, and then the stuff with the deportations as far as Trump news goes. As far as politics go. But a lot of interesting little stories. So rapid fire news, we got a bunch of, we think we have more stuff in rapid fire than we have in the main story news segments. And then for the last little chunk, oh yeah, the blackout. I got that. That's in it was in Spain, right? I think I have that in rapid fire. If I don't, I'll pull something up on it. Let me see. Major power outage in Spain and Portugal. Yeah, I got it. Yep, that's pretty crazy. The end is nigh. Power's going to shut down. People freak out about, like, I don't know, aliens, freaking nuclear war. Nukes are fake. You know, we've talked about that before. 3-year anniversary of the show. Some themes that we've discussed before. You should watch the Nukes Are Fake episode, because they are. They're not real. They're just big bombs. People say, well, yeah, a nuke is just a big bomb. Yeah, but they're not as big as you think they are. There's no, like, for 700 years, we won't be able to return to this place where the nuke dropped, or else you'll turn into a 3-headed zombie. Nope, that doesn't happen. Nope. They rebuilt Hiroshima and Nagasaki in like 6 months, and everybody was back there again. The emperor was walking around Hiroshima 3 days later. Totally fine. Everybody was fine. More damage was done to Tokyo from firebombing than was done from the nukes. So we lost a nuke. We lost a nuke in South Carolina. It just fell out of a plane, and then some dude found it in his backyard like 20 years later. Just a nuke chilling in his backyard. People would say, we would never drop nukes on America. What do you mean? We tested hundreds of nukes on America. What do you mean? We drop nukes on America all the time just to test them out. And the videos are all fake. People will deny the moon landing because they'll say the footage is fake. And I say, well, what about nukes? Are nukes fake? No. Whoa. Nukes are real. Now, nukes could wipe out the whole planet in an instant with 3 of them. And it's like, no, they can't. You could drop a nuke in the middle of New York and everybody, like, yeah, a lot of people are going to die, but everybody's going to rebuild and be back living in New York very quickly. We would never test a nuke on America. We dropped a bunch of nukes on America. In the video, when they blow the one up and the people are in the bleachers and they got the sunscreen on their face and they got the sunglasses on, like in the movie Oppenheimer, you think those bleachers are like 5 miles away? Those bleachers were like 100 feet away when it happened. They were not far away. And then all the old black and white videos, like the house getting blown down. Where's this camera at? Why is this camera not shaking at all? Camera's totally fine. There's no drones. Where's this camera? How is there just a camera floating up here? It's not in an airplane because it's not moving. It's a stable camera and it doesn't shake at all. They have a camera in the living room of the house and the walls get blown in and the mannequins go flying. The camera's chilling. It's BS. It's all fake. It's all fake footage. Nukes are fake. My mom lived in California in the 60s. Her friends would all drive to the desert and watch nuclear tests in Nevada. You see? Yup. These nukes are so dangerous, but we can just go watch them blow up in Nevada. Just go hang out and watch the nukes blow up. It's just a big bomb. They're not splitting an atom. It's just a bunch of bombs pointed inwards towards each other, which makes a bigger bomb. It is a big bomb. That's all it is, a big bomb. I'm more worried about the satellites with freaking lasers on their freaking heads. Speaking of 3-year anniversary, we've talked about the laser satellites repeatedly for the last 3 years. And I'm telling you guys, fake aliens are on their way. Oh, they're coming. Do I have that story? Did I talk about that last week? We talked about that last week. They found a sign of life on a planet 350 billion light years away. They found a signal of life on a planet. The signal of life is basically like a gas cloud with a chemical in it. And they're like, well, that chemical could lead to a frog if you believe in evolution. So that's a sign of life. Okay. It's like a Jupiter fart. Jupiter fart. Life on Jupiter. I don't know where I'm going, guys. We're just going to wing it today. Let's see if this debate has started yet. Okay, they're doing the openings. Let me listen to the opening real quick.
The Jewish people in the land. And this is not just a fallacy.
Zionism, Uncensored America can get my dang channel taken down because they get wild on this channel.
Very quickly lead to the destruction of the Jewish people living there. We don't have to speculate very much about this.
Did Andrew go yet?
Is currently at war with Hamas. Hamas stands for Islamic
Andrew's not even on the stage yet. Oh, there he is.
Nice trick by the Islamists to describe themselves as a resistance. From the very beginning, Hamas made their mission very
sorry, guys. Different.
To destroy Israel.
You know, it's a chill show tonight.
Eradicate the Jewish people. This is not just Israeli propaganda. It is in Hamas's own declaration rooted in Islamic prophecy. In the Hamas Charter of 1988, you can read
very quiet
in Article 7.
This is the problem with Uncensored America. I don't know who is in charge of their like tech stuff, but the audio's always low. The camera's always like shaky cam.
That it says the hour will not come.
They got some good debates from Uncensored America though, but they got some whack ones too. The Milo Yiannopoulos one was garbage. That guy started doing too much coke or something. He used to be, even though he was gay, he was kind of based. But now he's just yacked out on coke all the time.
The message here is very clear. It is the destruction of the Jewish people. That is literally what Hamas started out with. Hamas doesn't hide this at all. After October 7, their leadership declared that they would happily...
This debate is about Christians should be pro-Zionism. All he's talking about is Hamas. Just because you're anti-Hamas doesn't mean you're pro-Zionism.
And on multiple occasions,
like I think we can all say October 7th was bad, terrorist bad. Drop the fake nukes on the terrorists.
We will fulfill the promise of the eradication, the cleansing.
Why is it showing Mr. Enigmatic? I'm watching this. I should be watching this on Modern Day Debate, not Crucible.
Said that the second goal after that is to establish
it is. I have the wrong one open.
Islamic Caliphate in Jerusalem, and I will come to that in a minute.
I have it pulled up on Modern Day Debate. They're hosting it too.
Hamas is not alone in this. While Gaza is led by Hamas, on the other side in the West Bank, the Palestinian Authority is in charge.
Okay.
The Palestinian Authority has a Ministry of Religious Affairs, which only 1 week or 2 weeks.
Maybe he's just bringing up all this stuff to imply that Israel should have a nation state. And I guess that's what the new definition of Zionism is that you believe Israel should have a nation state. I don't think that's the historical definition of Zionism.
Their problem is just about existing and resisting. That's not the truth. Let's not make any mistakes here. While
I'd say
Israel's
Zionism
ambition
is
from the very
just
beginning was
supporting
to
the
exist and
concept
to
of
coexist
Zion,
with the
which
other
is
side,
biblical.
The other side, from the very beginning, always
believe
aims to eradicate the Jews. It's no
anything in the Old
coincidence that
Testament,
one of the earliest leaders of those Palestinian Arabs
if you
was
believe in the Abrahamic
Grand
God
Mufti
and that
al-Hajj
Israel was
Amin
the chosen
al-Husseini, who was
people
also a
and
good
that
friend of
Jesus was the
none other than
downline of
Hitler, who to
David
him
and
led the
Abraham,
fastest inward, we have documents on this,
then
that,
you would be a
if
Zionist.
the Nazis win the war, they will come down and together.
But I guess that's not what it means
annihilate the
anymore. Now it's a
Jews
political
over
thing that
Jerusalem
means you
region,
support
and the
a nation
Islamists
state
will
for
then be in
Israel.
charge of all the Arabs in the region. With all of this on our minds, I want to present 3 reasons why we should be supporting Zionism. Reason number 1 is to prevent a caliphate. This should be a given. Eradicating Jews, as I just pointed out, is not the only, not the final goal. According to Hamas, after the Jews are destroyed, the Islamic Caliphate...
We'll come back to this. Let's get on with the show. First story, Virginia Guiffre, Party of 5, Guiffre. Do we have the Guiffres here? Johnson, Party of 6. Wait, what happened to the Guiffres? I'm wondering what happened to the Guiffres. All right. Virginia Guiffre. I think that's how you pronounce that. Looks like a French ass. That's a French ass name. Yvonne, that's a French ass name. Virginia Guiffre, Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew accuser, dies at 41. So this is the first story I saw, and this is from Guardian. And I have not read this article yet, so I'm going to read it now with you guys. But from this headline, I did not see anything about suicide. But either more information came out or it's somewhere in this article and they just didn't want to put it in the headline. But apparently she offed herself. Spoiler alert, I don't believe that that's what happened. But what's up, Elder Lion? So let's look at this from The Guardian. I'm going to say Guiffre. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, because these French-ass names, it could be like Jennifer or something, the way they spell. Like they're using like crazy consonants and vowels that sound like totally different things. Don't make no damn sense. Guiffre's family issued statement confirming she killed herself at her farm in Western Australia. Right. Yeah, I'm sure. And Epstein killed himself too, right? Right. I wonder if it's like that one guy that killed himself where he had like a noose on his neck and a shotgun by his feet, like 3 feet away. And remember that? I think Clinton did that one. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Allegedly, the Clintons murdered a guy. I don't have my soundboard with that. Oh, I don't have it on my soundboard right now. Who were the murderers? Oh, Clinton, he murdered a guy. I just thought everybody knew that. Okay. Virginia Guiffre hailed as a fierce warrior for women. Virginia Guiffre, one of the most prominent victims of the disgraced U.S. financier Jeffrey Epstein, who also alleged she had been sexually trafficked to Prince Andrew, has died at 14. How do you get trafficked by all the rich and famous people? And I've talked about this before. It's a little edgy. A lot of people don't like it when I say stuff like this, but I think a lot of these girls knew exactly what they were doing, and they voluntarily went into it. I know people don't like it when I say that. We gotta get these famous people who are trafficking these children. If you're 16 and you're traveling the world and living in the finest places in the world in this giant, massive mansion on an island, and you got picked up in France where that's legal age of consent, you've went through free will puberty, and you're living in France and you're old enough to decide to do that. I don't know if that counts. But or that one guy who was Shot twice in the back of the head and stuffed himself in a backpack after. Yeah, or that black swimmer, that professional, like collegiate level athletic swimmer who died in 3 foot deep of water right behind Barack Obama's house. That was a wild one, huh? But anyway, we're not going to go into my theories about how I think some of the stuff with the Epstein thing seems to have been blown out of proportion, but bad guy, evil, bad, mean, bad guy. Okay. Yes. I agree to that. Yes. These people are all degenerate scumbags. I 100% agree to that. I'm just saying some of these girls, I think they're probably living their best life. That's all I'm saying. Her family issued a statement on Saturday confirming she took her own life at her farm in Western Australia, where she had lived for several years. It is with utterly broken hearts that we announced that Virginia passed away last night at her farm in Western Australia. She lost her life to suicide. You guys know that annoys me. She lost her battle with depression. She lost her life to suicide. Suicide just crept up and took her life from her. That's not the way that works. If assuming, you know what I'm saying, you don't living your best life is part of. Okay, we're not gonna do this forever. I'm done with that. I'm done with talking about. I know I brought it up, but I gotta stop doing that. People are cheers and beers. Chuck Danger. Guys, make sure you hit the like button when you come in here. And also, Grifty McGrifterson is in the building. It's the 3-year anniversary of the show. We made it 3 whole years. Every Monday. I only missed one Monday. And I did the show on Tuesday. Okay? We pushed it back a day once in 3 years. Okay, that's consistency. That deserves like a $5 or something. Hook it up. Hook your boy up. Celebration. Buy me some drinks for this weekend. What do we have for fights this weekend? I know I'm like derailing my own show. I don't care. It's a chill show. Chill show today. We don't have a lot of news. But I do want to see if Andrew's still not going yet. I just want to watch his opening. It's funny people call Andrew a Zionist now. And because he like kicks, he bans people in his chat. I saw him do it the other day. He's like, if you're going to do this Jew-spurging stuff and hating on the Jews, then you can get out of my chat. And he was banning people from his chat, which I respect that because I'm not like some big anti-Israel guy. I don't hate Israel. I don't like that we send them so much money, but I ain't got no problem. No Israelite ever did nothing to me. Consistency is how old folks measure dumps. See how old folks measure dumps. Oh, like when they take a dump? No, I think that's countenance or I forget the word. What was I just? Okay, he's going. Hold on. Let's listen to this real quick. Pause the show for a second. I just want to hear his opening.
To preface these arguments, I'll explain that Ridvan cannot make the claim that the religion of Judaism isn't part of Zionism. The right of return applies to both religious and ethnic Jews. Israeli law defines Jewish as someone who is born to a Jewish mother or who has converted to Judaism. In other words, the very people group defined.
That also doesn't make sense if you read the Torah. That the mother, so it's not a matriarchy, but a matrilineal, I think is the word. I'm not sure, but that's not in the Torah. That's not the father carries that. No, they don't even mention the name of the mother. Nobody cares about the mothers. There's like 8 of them for each guy, so nobody cares about the mother in the Torah. So when did Judaism become, The lineage of the woman. Is it matrilineal? I think it is.
Defined as both religious Jews and non-religious Jews, emphasizing all Jews have the right to
Incontinence.
return.
That's the word I was looking
According
for.
to legal expert Nancy C. Richmond, in her analysis of Israel's law of return, published in Penn State International Law Review, quote, while Israel is not a theocracy, the Jewish religion has a central role in Israeli politics because the main purpose of the country's
He's going to mention that
establishment
Israel
was
is
to
super
create an
liberal, and
independent Jewish
there's a
state.
lot of gay people
Quote,
there.
this analysis is shared by virtually every scholar.
From
I
my
can find
understanding, that's
for
only like
Zionist
one city.
And is logical due to the fact that if Zionism
Just like
really had
every
nothing
blue
to do
city
with
and
the
every
Jewish
red
religion,
state is a
it
little
wouldn't
is a little
specify Jewish
hellhole.
converts as being allowed this right of return. Very
But I've never been there, so I don't
This
know.
is an important preface, as apostate prophets going to argue this as a secular state, and that's simply untrue as a matter of fact. This leads me to argument one. There is no ought under Christian ethics to support other religions which specifically oppose doctrine and an establishment of a homeland for them.
It's a good
The
point.
Jewish religion is acknowledged as being incorrect by every major Christian branch. This
The problem
includes the
is
Eastern Orthodox
with that
Church,
is that-
which apostate prophet is converting to, as well as mainline Protestant and Roman Catholics. The specific problem here is particularly the denial of Jesus Christ being the Messiah, as outlined in simple language in 1 John 2:23. No one who denies the Son has the Father. Whoever acknowledges the Son has the Father also. In simple terms,
Oh yeah, Mosman called me an antichrist once because I have questions about the Trinity, and I said, where are you getting that from?" He says it right in, and then we go to that verse, and I read the verse, and I said, "Wait, John, did I ever deny the Son?" "No." "Okay, well then how does this say that I'm an antichrist? I never denied the Son. Jesus is definitely the Son of God." I'm not sure about the ontological essence. I don't understand all that stuff. Too small-brained, but I definitely have never denied that Jesus is definitely the Son of God, uncreated from all time. But anyway,
if you don't accept Jesus Christ
Don't
as
deny
Lord
the
and
Son.
Savior, you don't worship the same God Christians worship. Now, this is also found in John 14:6. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father but through me. Christ as a Messiah is central to the creed of every major Christian profession of faith. So my first argument concludes, Christians ought not support this heretical for Christian political ideology, and supporting heretical ideology is itself sinful as it violates Christian ethics. The argument itself, premise one, Christians who support heretical ideology denying the divinity of Christ are sinning. Premise two, religious Jews reject the divinity of Christ after he's revealed himself to them as the Savior. Premise three, if religious Jews reject Christ, they are incorrect, and Christians who claim they aren't are spreading heresy.
but what about so I would say everybody who started following Jesus, like the Jews who were alive and walked with Jesus and saw Jesus, and they said, yeah, that is the Messiah. That's the one that's been prophesied. And then they start following him. They're still Jewish and they're following Jesus. So I guess he would just say they don't count as Jewish anymore. They become Christian, but I don't know if that's how that works. I guess they would be Messianic Jews. I don't know.
Conclusion, religious Jews are, by Christian standards, wrong and should not be supported by Christians who would be spreading a heresy if they acknowledge Jewish theology is correct or give it support to reduce it
Jewish
to
theology?
a much simpler view.
The Torah and the Tanakh is incorrect. Talmud, that's another conversation, but that's a mess. But the Torah and the Tanakh is part of Christian theology.
If one of my daughters had an OnlyFans, I would still love her. We are commanded, as we were commanded, to love the Jews and the Muslims, but I'm not going to promote it. I'm not going to promote it. Argument two, the pragmatic argument and its response. Ridvan focuses a lot on the pragmatic approach through geopolitics to make an ought for support for Christians towards Zionism, focusing on the anti-Muslim factor rather than the Christian ethics factor. The pragmatic argument from him is simple. If we have to choose to support the state of Israel, who are seemingly at least sympathetic to the West and Christian nations, then we should, or Muslims will dominate the region unopposed. There's no way, and they are in no way sympathetic to the West. This is, in my opinion, his best argument, but it falls flat because it focuses on a false dialectic that relies on fallacious reasoning. In his view of pragmatism,
Did he just say false flat? Is that a thing? Maybe he just misspoke, or maybe that's a thing. I've just never heard of it.
he presents two choices.
Tism.
There are actually hundreds of choices. or more. For instance, there isn't, from a purely pragmatic approach, any reason I can think of for the protectors of Israel, in this case the West, to demand Israel open itself up to tens of thousands of Christian missionaries yearly and give them all enfranchised status. Many thousands of Christians would love to live there. This would effectively end the, quote, Jewish state apparatus, which would appease Muslims and also create a dynamic for which Christians could begin their work of converting Jews to Christianity, which is their mandate. Jews would not be persecuted under this arrangement and would still be able to freely practice Judaism as they saw fit.
Andrew's gotten way better at these in-person ones. The first time he went to DebateCon, of course, it became one of his most viral moments, and it led to his channel blowing up after that. People will say it's whatever. It was actually the Dillahunty debate, I believe. I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. The Dillahunty debate at the DebateCon 4 or 5, where he got Dillahunty to rage quit in the first 5 minutes. That's when Crucible really took off. And then that led to whatever. But you could tell, if you go back and watch that, you could tell he was very nervous. I think that was the first time I had ever seen him do a live in-person audience debate. And you could tell he was nervous. It worked. He still got Matt to rage quit and walk off, which was awesome. But he seemed nervous. And he doesn't seem nervous at all in this one.
And would be enfranchised to vote, just like they are in all other nations. They also would have more protections from other nations who have vested interest in their settlers. Will this plan work? I have no idea. No clue.
We're just watching the opening, and then we'll get back to Virginia Guiffre.
That only two choices exist where many choices exist. Ridvan would have to effectively argue Israel would need to remain a Jewish state from a secular view, which, to quote a thing he says often, that makes no sense. Why does the state actually need to be a Jewish ethno-state and Jewish religious state in order to protect Jews? That's actually rather stupid. All Western nations afford Jewish people the same rights as all of the citizens get. Ridvan, from the pragmatic approach, would actually have to argue that Israel remain a Jewish state from a secular standpoint, which he can't do. As long as the state protected Jews and they were allowed to practice their religion, why would it be a problem if it wasn't dominated by Jews themselves? To formalize this argument to Ridvan, premise 1, Jews deserve a homeland for both ethnic Jewish individuals and religious Jewish individuals. This is his view. Premise 2, the Jewish homeland is necessary because it protects Jews from persecution. Premise 3, the Jewish homeland can't let in majorities of other groups for its own protection. Conclusion, Israel must remain an ethnic religious state with a supermajority of Jewish people. Now you can see here the conclusion doesn't actually follow from the premise. The key here seems to be that Jewish individuals deserve protection from atrocity, but the case isn't being made why they would specifically need a Jewish state to do so.
Does it make me a Zionist if I say, I don't care if Israel has its own nation state where all the Jewish people live, and the Muslims can have their own place where they all live, and then the Christians should have a country where they all live? I just don't want to fund it. It's not our job to pay for them to have their own country, but they want to have their own country, they can have their own country. The Muslims can have their own country, and if they want to go to war with each other, let them. Ain't my business. It's my business when all the Muslims start coming over here.
Early anti-Zionism.
I don't want the small hats over here digging tunnels under New York and doing mitzvah paz.
Jews made similar counter-arguments as well. Social dominance in culture doesn't assure prevention from atrocity.
It doesn't make you a Zionist, then I guess I'm not a Zionist.
Class under a different dominant culture. This seemingly can be viewed right now by the conflict going on with Hamas. At least not logically and not pragmatically. Also, we could use accelerated pragmatism here to point out the absurdity of this false dialectic by simply pointing out it could be pragmatic to nuke the entire Middle East, Israel included, and no longer worry about Middle Eastern conflicts and cultures ever. But my guess is most people would rightly state that would be against Christian ethics, which rejects pragmatism for Christian ethics, which Ridvan also should do. Now, even in easily dismantling the pragmatic argument, I will simply now grant it and the false dialectic of a binary choice to simply point out that even if I do, it still doesn't provide an ought for why Christians must support Zionism.
Mitzvah peh, I think that's how it's said. I think that's what it is that Jewish Talmudic Jewish tradition where after they do a circumcision, they do something really nasty. The rabbis do something really nasty that I don't even want to say. We've talked about it before. It's gross.
Which is both
And they still do
hilarious
it in
and
New
ironic,
York.
but does provide us
They've
for
been,
for
they're not supposed to,
Christians
but they
not
still
supporting
do
because
it.
they're being presented with a false binary. My last argument is the most important. It combines two arguments together for the sake of time. This argument focuses on the biggest ought, not for Christians, and requires a preface. The first preface is that Israel refuses to disclose if it has nuclear weapons and will neither confirm nor deny if they do, nor allow any inspection of them if they do. Our own CIA has confirmed they do, but they don't disclose it. Second, the Israeli government works hand in hand with the Temple Institute and American evangelicals. Also, there's an organization called Guiffre, or Christians Unified for Israel. Guiffre has 10 million members, and Israel doesn't even have 10 million citizens. Guiffre spreads the false heresy of dispensationalism and hosts charismatic doctrine.
Yes.
By Ridvan's
Yes.
own faith, he knows these are heresies.
Robert, yeah,
Guiffre's
you know
on
what
over
I'm talking
300
about.
college campuses and growing. Their stated goal is to educate millions of Americans on these heresies, according to their own website, quote, through our 16 social media accounts, websites, blogs, daily briefs, to bring in groups of pastors and next-generation influencers and students to Israel every year. Guys like Charlie Kirk and, dare I say, Ridvan and David Wood.
Boy, everybody gets to take that trip and go kiss that wall, baby. You know? Hey, I'd do it. If they said, hey, as long as you support Israel, you get a free trip to journey through the land where Jesus walked, and you get to kiss this wall. And afterwards, you're going to make a whole lot of money. Is that like selling your soul? Maybe I would have to reconsider that, but
and others.
I would just like to go
Quote, those
see
would be the
Israel.
types
It'd
of
be cool.
influencers who would be their target. Not saying that Kufi paid for any of
I'm
that.
not allowed
Just
to leave
saying
the country,
that would
though,
be the
so.
target. To reach thousands through Kufi Weekly and Israel Collective videos on YouTube, he's brought in over 1,000 major influencers, including celebrities. All of this is right from their site. Now, what do these people want, you ask? Well, this is going to blow your mind, but this is what they want. They want to assist with the fulfillment of biblical prophecy to bring about a new false Messiah and usher in an Armageddon. Not kidding. Not kidding. Now, the Temple Institute's goal in Israel, using both private and Israeli state money, is to rebuild the third
What are these,
temple and
10-minute
new
openings?
Messiah, which Christians know is a false Messiah. Israel, the supposed secular state, gives large swaths of money to the Temple Institute, and many government officials back this undertaking. So remember when I said Christians ought not support heresies? Well, here's why. Right now, this second, major personalities on the right, such as Charlie Kirk, most of the Daily Wire, even perhaps David Wood and Ridvan themselves, who I like.
The
know
Daily
for
Wire is
sure
like
that any Messiah
Ben is
named
openly
by
Jewish.
Israel will be Antichrist. They know it. Now, perhaps not the Antichrist,
I think
but the spirit
it's like
of
what it says
Antichrist,
in
whoever
Revelation,
this person
exactly.
Is, and they have to denounce Christians definitionally. Have to. So to recap, the supposed secular Zionist government is giving money to the religious Zionists in Israel and get American support to do this with both American government money and direct aid, with mega preachers like John Hagee leading the charge in America with Kufi to back this endeavor to usher in Antichrist. So, Ridvan, I will see any argument you make. For
What's
why
his name?
Christians ought to
Ridvan?
support,
Rip Van
Zionism,
Winkle?
and I will raise you one Antichrist as an ought not. This is the most powerful ought not for Christians to support Zionism, and it is
looks a little
really the
rattled.
one argument I want Ridvan to address, as it's my primary argument. So, the formal argument goes like this. Premise 1, Christians should not support false Messiah or Antichrist, ever. Premise 2, Zionists are attempting to name a false Messiah. Premise 3, secular and religious Zionists are working together to bring about biblical prophecy and name a false Messiah. Conclusion, Christians shouldn't support Zionism, especially not a Zionist nation with an Antichrist at its head and nukes, which it won't acknowledge.
Nukes aren't real.
False Messiah, head of a state with nukes. Genius, Ridvan. Now, to end it very quickly with
What
this,
is his name?
I'm gonna
Ridvan?
enjoy this spirited debate, but I really want you to address this argument. With that,
I thought
the
Apostate
floor
Prophet was a different guy.
Much.
Good opening. Good opening. I like it. I'll watch that. I'll watch the whole thing later. Modern day debate, we'll leave it up. And I think maybe Uncensored America will have it on their YouTube, but their YouTube is getting shadow banned super hard. Like, I'm subscribed. I don't get any. When I type in Andrew Wilson Zionism debate, the first search result should be Uncensored America's. Assuming they're streaming it. Maybe they're not. Maybe it's just Modern Day Debate hosting it. That's possible. Hold on, let me see. I know Crucible's hosting it, and then Modern Day Debate is hosting it. Uncensored America's YouTube is getting super shadow banned because, as the name implies, they let anything fly. They've had some wild debate. I've been reviewing their debates live, and I'm like, oh crap, I don't know if I can be watching this on YouTube. No, they're not. Unless it's just not showing up in the algorithm, they're not hosting it. Let me just check Uncensored America's YouTube. No, they are. Yeah, they're live right now. That's crazy. They should be the first search result. But they're not even on the list. But they are live. So, I think Crucible will probably take this down afterwards. But you can still go back and watch it on Modern Day Debate and Uncensored America's YouTube. All right. Back to the news. I'll watch that later. Good opening from Andrew. I can't make a fair judgment of the openings because I didn't listen to the other guy's opening. Is getting buried by the algorithm. Yeah. Well, they were blowing up really rapidly when they had John Doyle versus Destiny. But then they had Gavin McGinnis and Milo on once. And that one was crazy. Like, all the TOS was broken over and over and over and over and over again. And it's like, yeah, I get and the college campuses were suing them. Or no, they were suing college campuses because college campuses were banning them and not letting them come in after that one. So they were suing the colleges. And it's like, yeah, you shouldn't be able to ban this type of speech on a college campus because we don't have hate speech. Hate speech is not a thing in America. I know a lot of people seem to forget that. Two very controversial. Yeah, it was wild. But hate speech isn't a thing in America. You should be able to have these people at a college campus. This is where we're supposed to have these conversations and have these, freedom of speech on a college campus. It should be a thing. And if you don't allow that, you should get sued and you shouldn't get any funding. But putting it on YouTube, you're still using a private company's platform. I know they still get, section, 2030 or whatever, subsidies and all that stuff, which they shouldn't. Hola, Cisa. If Trump had gotten her in witness protection program so she could testify against you-know-who. Yeah. Well, I don't think, yeah. Yeah, she definitely didn't kill herself. I don't believe that. But let's see how it happened. I'm sure it's something crazy. I don't know if they're going to give details, but it is with utterly, hold on, Australia. It is with utterly broken hearts that we announce that Virginia has passed away last night at a farm in Western Australia. She lost her life to suicide after being a lifelong victim of sexual abuse and sex trafficking. The statement read, "In the end, the troll of abuse is so heavy that it became unbearable for Virginia to handle its weight. Mate." Guiffre is one of the most vocal victims of Epstein, alleging she had been groomed and sexually abused by him and his longtime associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, beginning in her teens. The family described her as a fierce warrior against sexual abuse and sex trafficking. By the way, YouTube, this is, I'm reading from The Guardian, and this is news reporting, so I'm not going to censor all these words. This is the story we're reading from The Guardian. The family described, because I know the dang ISRon's listening. The family described her as a fierce warrior against sexual abuse and trafficking, and a light that lifted so many survivors. Despite all the adversity she faced in her life, she shone so bright. She will be missed beyond measure, they said. Guiffre is survived by her 3 children, Christian, Noah, and Emily. 2 based names. The girl, I don't know, how you going with biblical, like Christian and Noah, and then you got Emily, who her family said were the light of her life. It was when she held her newborn daughter in her arms that Virginia realized she had to fight back against those who abused her and so many others. She said, "There are no words that can express the grave loss we feel today with the passing of our sweet Virginia. She was heroic and will always be remembered for her incredible courage and loving spirit." Guiffre's lawyer, Sigrid McCauley, said she was much more than a client. What does that mean? She was a dear friend and an incredible champion for other victims. Her courage pushed me to fight harder, and her strength was awe-inspiring, McCauley said. The world has lost an amazing human being today. Rest in peace, my sweet angel. Guiffre's representative, Deanie von Muffling, said she was one of the most extraordinary human beings I have ever had the honor, with a U, to know. That's not how you spell honor. Deeply loving, wise, and funny. Okay, can we get to the details of the story? I know this is like touchy-feely stuff, but it just ain't working for me. Western Australia police did not publicly confirm Guiffre had died, but said emergency services responded to reports a 41-year-old woman was unresponsive at home in near Gabby, about 75 kilometers north of Perth. The woman was given emergency first aid, but was pronounced dead. The death will be investigated, but is not considered suspicious. Bullshit. What do you mean it's not considered suspicious? Yeah, and Epstein's death wasn't suspicious at all either. Earlier this month, Guiffre posted on social media that she had just days to live after a school bus crashed into her car. What? WA police later confirmed a 41-year-old woman had been in a car that collided with a bus on 24th of March, but there were no reported injuries. It is understood that Guiffre presented to a Perth hospital emergency department on 1st of April. Why would she... So her car crashes into a bus, and then she puts on social media, I only have a few days to live. Conspiracy theory time. Put on your tinfoil hats. Somebody digitally took control of her electric vehicle and crashed it into a bus, and she realized, oh shit, they're coming for me. That's the conspiracy theory. Just alleging, making up things in my head. Just thinking out loud. Why would she say that after crashing into a bus if nobody... Now, I could understand you crash into a school bus and like 6 kids die. That's going to put you in a very dark place. And if you made a post that said, I only have a few days left to live, I can't live with this, I would understand it. But nobody was injured. So why would she say that? You feel me? The Eye of Sauron is listening. Did I say that? The ear of Sauron is listening. The Eye of Sauron is watching. But the algorithm, the eye of Sauron listens. It doesn't watch. Guiffre, who is American, said she met Maxwell, a British socialite, in 2000 working as a locker room assistant at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. Uh-oh, they got to throw his name in the mix. Maxwell offered her a job as a massage therapist to Epstein, through which Maxwell alleged she was trafficked to the financier's friends and clients, passed around like a platter of fruit. Y'all know how I feel about this. How old was she? In 2009, a civil lawsuit against Epstein under the pseudonym Jane Doe 102, she alleged that her duties included being sexually exploited by Epstein's adult male peers, including royalty. Guiffre reached a settlement with Epstein in that case before it went to trial. In 2021, Guiffre filed a civil lawsuit against Prince Andrew in the federal court in New York, alleging he had sexually assaulted her on 3 occasions when she was 17. This is definitely going to be... Okay, when she was 17. We're still reading from Guardian YouTube. Andrew has repeatedly and strongly denied the accusations. In the lawsuit, Guiffre alleged Epstein and Maxwell had introduced her to Andrew in 2001 and alleged that Maxwell forced her to have sex with Andrew. In 2022, Andrew and Guiffre agreed to an out-of-court settlement for an undisclosed sum. Maxwell, who has maintained her innocence, was sentenced to 20 years in prison in 2022 for sex trafficking. Epstein was arrested by federal authorities and charged with sex trafficking counts shortly after he died by suicide. Suicide got him while awaiting trial. In the U.S. on Saturday, the Rape and Abuse and Incest National Network, RAIN, what? I've never even heard of that, praised Guiffre's courage while warning that victims of sexual abuse are significantly more likely to attempt suicide or suffer long-term. Dude, just reading this story is going to get me banned. I'm just reading a story from Guardian YouTube. Damn. Our heart goes out. And we denounce all this. This stuff is all horrible, by the way. Bad stuff. Warning. All of this stuff is bad. Okay? And I'm not like joking. This is horrible stuff. But I still have questions about this making it rain. Was the name of the hitman? Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It got her. They got this dang assassin named Beep running around getting people. Call the assassin. Call the hitman. Which hitman do you want us to call? You know, call the call. Okay. I have this from National Review, and they put it in the headline. Proficient Epstein. This is from the National Review YouTube. Prominent Epstein accuser Virginia Guiffre dies by suicide. Virginia Guiffre, who accused the late Jeffrey Epstein of sexually trafficking her against a teenager, died by suicide at age 41 on Thursday. While her death was described as a suicide, the specific method used remains unknown. Her death is not being considered suspicious so far. Dude, what do you mean? What do you mean? It's not being considered suspicious. Everyone who sees this story is going to say it's suspicious. It is with utterly broken hearts that we announce. Okay, they're all going to start with the stuff in the family. NBC News was one of the first to report on Guiffre's death after receiving the family statement. In September 2019, NBC's Savannah Guthrie formally interviewed Guiffre and 5 other women who levied sexual assault allegations against Epstein. Guiffre was one of the most outspoken accusers, prominent as someone in 2009. And I'm just looking for any new information in this article. Maybe they... I'm looking for more details on her death. All we know so far is she was found unresponsive in her apartment. Separate civil lawsuit. She says she was forced to have sex with Prince Andrew. Yeah, I'm sure she... Never mind. I'm going to get in trouble if I go into that. But in several accounts... A prince? You mean I have to have sex with this prince while I'm living on a beautiful paradise island in a mansion? No. Don't force me to do it. Epstein died by apparent suicide in Manhattan jail in August. We already know this. Jean-Luc Brunel, a French modeling agent. Nothing good comes from France. Remember that, guys. Against whom Guiffre testified, also hung himself in his... A lot of these people seem to be offing themselves. Isn't that odd? Jean-Luc Brunel also hung himself in a Paris prison cell in February 2022. The victims, the alleged suspects, or the accused, they just seem to be getting hunted down and losing their battle with depression. It's crazy. She lost her brave battle with depression. Yeah. Dude, oh man, it annoys me when people do that. Lost their battle with depression. They were taken. Their life was taken from us by suicide. The bus driver involved in the accident. Okay, here we go. This is this bus driver. I'm kind of interested in this. What's this line here? News of Guiffre's suicide arrived 1 month after she revealed on Instagram a school bus hit her car. So we have some conflicting reports here. Guardian says she hit the bus. National Review says the bus hit her and sent her to the hospital, treating for kidney renal failure. Guiffre claimed she had 4 days to live. That's oddly specific. She ended up living another 4 weeks. Oh, well, her prophecy was wrong. Not a prophet. The bus driver involved in the accident said Guiffre was exaggerating the severity of the incident when she claimed the bus was being driven at nearly 70 miles per hour. She reportedly sat in the passenger seat at the time of the crash. Of her own car, she's in the passenger seat? Maybe a man was driving. That's based. Guiffre left behind her 3 young children at her home in Perth, Australia. She recently split with her husband after 22 years of marriage, according to the reports. That's an interesting fact. A week after her car accident, Guiffre claimed she was abused by her longtime husband, who allegedly violated a family. Dude, this lady's just... Every man she's ever known is just like a mess. An old tweet of Guiffre's resurfaced in the wake of her death. In December 2019, she denied that she was suicidal. Interesting. So, yeah, this is not suspicious. Not suspicious. Australian authorities just going to claim it's not suspicious at all, mate. What do you mean? I'm making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form am I suicidal, she wrote at the time. I have made this known to my therapist and GP. If something happens to me, in the sake of my family, do not let this go away and help me protect them. Too many evil people want to see me quieted. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Interesting. So she wrote a note that said, if I end up suicided, please protect my family because people want to kill me. That's interesting. And I think that's all we have. I mean, we can go through other news sources, but I don't think we're going to get much more information on this. It's basically just conjecture at this point. And I got a vivid imagination. So everyone knows she didn't lull herself. Come on. What you mean, mate? Nothing to see here. Yeah, exactly. It's nothing really, just I like patterns. Oh, Lord, it's a gematria time. Tell me what those rabbinical numbers mean. Kimberly Ann Carter, hate your emojis. If you have 5.55 subscribers, do you know the biblical meaning of the number? The biblical meaning of the number 555 or 5,550? And no, I don't. I don't play with satanic I don't play with satanic symbology and stuff like that. It's a dark path to go down. It means nothing. Okay. Based. Okay, so that's the Guiffre story. That's probably going to get me in trouble. All the things that I just said. I just said all the things you're not supposed to say. But we were only reading news reports. All of the added commentary is just for entertainment value and comedy purposes. You know, I don't know. I'm just making stuff up, guys. 555. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Where's the gematria calculator? Let's see. I've never looked at this. I've heard of it, though. No, I don't even want to do it. I'm not even going to do it. It's demonic. I'm not doing it. The Andy Dufresne story. Dufresne, Party of Five, Dufresne. All right, let's get into some. We talked with Aiden the other night. It was a good combo about immigration and deportations and things like that. So we've got more updates on what's going on with the deportations right now. And there's an interesting little story, a little nugget here. I'll show you what the media does, how they try to pull at emotional heartstrings, specifically of women, because women form consensus. We've talked about this a million times. Happy life, happy wife. Happy life, happy wife. The husband, once the women get the right to vote, they form consensus. They're in their husband's ear. They're saying, yeah, but this Trump guy, he's just so mean. And what about all these poor children? And then the husband, he ain't going to get no nookie if he doesn't vote for Kamala. And a lot of these betas are going to do it. Women form consensus, and I'll show you how they use headlines to pull at the heartstrings of women and to distract from the truth. So, first story from CBSnews.com. The DEA says over 100 undocumented immigrants arrested at a Colorado Springs underground nightclub. Let's watch this video first, and then I'll read the report.
Major story we're following out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, as more than 100 people have been detained after this at a.
Dude, how do the people like this get jobs at a desk at a big news network? I could do this way better than this guy.
Nightclub there in southern Colorado. I'd want to put this up from the DEA in the Rocky Mountain region. As you can see this, saying more than 200 people were inside the Colorado Springs underground nightclub when the DEA and local federal partners made entry around 3:45 local time.
Drugs and weapons were seized. More than 100 illegal aliens in tow and custody. Potential deportation. Oh, look at this lady crying.
Drugs and weapons were seized, and more than 100 illegal aliens are now in custody facing potential deportation. So we are following this very closely here on Live Now from Fox about these arrests being made, this DEA in Colorado.
Hola,
we have more video of it on Live Now from Fox. I want to give you more information as federal authorities announced that more than 100 illegal immigrants were detained in a massive raid in an underground nightclub. The Drug Enforcement Administration led a multi-agency operation early Sunday morning, arrested 114 illegal immigrants at the venue that contained more than 200 people. Authorities uncovered drugs.
Hey, that's half. They got half of them. That's pretty good.
Including pink cocaine, as well as evidence.
We got a place like that in Salt Lake City. And it's weird. It's an Indian restaurant. It's an Indian restaurant on the corner of, I don't know. It's over there by the Pie Hole. Where's my homie? Who also lives in Salt. He'll know what I'm talking about. There's a place called the Himalayan Kitchen. And it's like an Indian restaurant over on the corner by like the bar hopping area. And during the day, the work hours, it's an Indian restaurant. But then at night on Fridays and Saturdays, when the restaurant closes, upstairs turns into an after hours like secret club. When I was homeless, I used to sleep outside of there, so I would always hear the boom, 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 and like the rave music and the lights coming out of the windows, and all these people would be down there. And it was after hours, so it was like after all the clubs closed and the restaurant closed, and it was all Hispanic people, like that type of music. A secret club. Why all these dang immigrants got secret clubs in urban environments? They need to raid that place. They're getting another 100 real quick.
of prostitution and multiple firearms during the operation.
This dude breaking
of course,
the window?
we were following it on social media. They said those
trying to
facts
smash
that they
this-
have taken more
Get
than 100
him! Oh, look at him
illegal
running out. They're
aliens
trying to run.
into custody.
Run,
Drugs and weapons
Pablo!
also
Oh,
seized
no, they
there
got me.
at this operation. Attorney
that
General
way.
Pam Bondi applauded the operation,
no.
which included 300 officials
Wait,
across
I'm
multiple
a
agencies,
mannequin. She
including the
dropped down and
FBI.
get it low. Did you see her drop down and get her eagle on? Watch this girl. As soon as she sees a gun, she starts dropping down and getting her eagle on. What is this? Watch the girl in the white right here.
Which included 300 officials
Drop down and get
across
your eagle on,
multiple
girl.
agencies, including the FBI, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearm, ATF. She said on social media, this morning, the DEA apprehended those 100 illegal aliens at an underground nightclub frequented by TDA, Tren de Aragua, and MS-13 terrorists. Cocaine, meth, pink cocaine seized.
Hold on, let me read this out loud, guys. And yet to me, you streamers are diabolical, since you read my message out loud and responded to me, and as if trying to force me to be named. Even so, when I'm not brave like you, people I don't. Damn, that was deep. That Beaner singing was classic.
Two people were also
What do you mean force you to be named? I just read your name, Kimberly Ann Carter. It's not my fault you put your full government in your damn YouTube screen name.
arrested on existing warrants. She complimented the operation, the multi-agency operation, talking about this. So we're following that very closely. Over 100 migrants detained overnight in Colorado and Colorado Springs at this nightclub raid. We'll continue to follow it all here on Live Now from Fox.
The Shaq-a-Roni's back at Papa.
I'm shy. Well, it's okay. Nobody's looking for you. We don't know who you are, just like you don't know who we are. It's fine. You'll be all right. Retarded, but in a funny way. A lot of people have my name. Yeah, okay. All right, so 114 people who were allegedly in the United States unlawfully. Allegedly. In the United States unlawfully were arrested at a party in Colorado Springs early Sunday morning, according to the Drug Enforcement Administration. DEA went on to say that the operation, with over 300 officers and agents from the FBI, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the IRS, the U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Division, U.S. Postal Police, and local law enforcement, also yielded the seizure of firearms and drugs near Academy Boulevard and Airport Road around 3:45. Dude, they brought the whole kit and caboodle out there. They got the dang postal police showing up, going postal on them. Part of busting up the underground nightclub in Colorado Springs included the arrest of 114 illegal aliens. The DEA said on social media, drugs and weapons have also been seized at this underground nightclub in Colorado Springs. Law enforcement officials said over 200 people were at the party in total, and those who the DEA said were in the country unlawfully were turned over to ICE for processing and likely eventual deportation. Say hello to El Salvador. Bukele is gonna love you. Video posted by the DEA on social media shows agents in tactical gear smashing the window of the building as dozens of people walk out. Some of them start to drop down and get their eagle on, girl. Some of those initially attempted to run from the area, but agents and officers with guns said, guns drawn, andale, andale, liba, tell the crowd to get on the ground. That video shows many of them complying and putting their hands up. DEA officials went on to say the active duty U.S. military personnel were at the party, some working private security and others as patrons. We had military guys hanging out at this Cholo club. It's obvious, lean like a Cholo. It's obviously concerning to have active duty military involved. We're working with our partners these guys got to let off some stress somewhere. We're working with our partners at Army CID on that case, said DEA's Rocky Mountain Field Division Special Agent in charge, Jonathan Pullen. Colorado Springs also got a lot of fishy military activity going on, just so you know. There's a lot of military bases here, so it's not necessarily surprising, but we're going to take that very seriously. An official with Fort Carson, the large U.S. Army post near Colorado Springs, said that active duty soldiers are allowed to have employment outside of the U.S. military, but it needs to be approved by their unit commander. The official did not immediately know if any of the service members allegedly at the event had that approval. In a tweet, U.S. Attorney General Pamela Bondi said the club is frequented by gang members, that cocaine and methamphetamines were seized, and that 2 people were arrested on existing warrants. No one who was detained or arrested at that event has been publicly identified. Yeah, because nobody knows who any of them are. We have no idea who any of them are. Colorado state law limits the scope of collaboration between local governments, including law enforcement agencies and federal immigration authorities, unless those federal agencies have a warrant signed by a federal judge or magistrate. Colorado Springs Police Chief Adrian Vasquez says the effort, this is brown on brown crime, says the efforts of his department were solely to address criminal violations affecting the safety of our community. Yeah, we just so happened to also deport 114 illegal immigrants. We did not know they were there. We were only there for the cocaine and the methamphetamine and the guns. But we ended up sending 114 of my brothers and sisters to El Salvador. I want to be clear that it is the responsibility of the Colorado Springs Police Department to investigate criminal activity and to make arrests when appropriate. This operation was the result of a months-long investigation into serious criminal activity in our community, he said in a statement on Sunday. While the investigation is ongoing, arrests for these criminal violations are expected. CSPD is aware that our federal partners also detained multiple people for suspected immigration violations during the operation. CSPD is not authorized to conduct immigration enforcement under Colorado law. Yemi Modolade, the first immigrant to serve as mayor of Colorado Springs, shocker, praised law enforcement's efforts while condemning alleged criminals. Let me be clear, criminal activity of any kind from anyone will not be tolerated in Colorado Springs, he said in a statement. This investigation and the execution of these warrants are the result of clear evidence of serious criminal conduct. Our residents deserve to live in a city where the rule of law is upheld and where the legal behavior is met with firm and decisive action. We will continue working together to ensure the safety and well-being of our entire community. I'm sorry, Cecil. Reuters says more than 100 migrants arrested in Colorado Springs nightclub raid. Why it's important. The raid was one of the biggest in the number of arrests since President Donald Trump took office on January 20th. Trump has vowed to deport immigrants who are using the U.S. illegally and has made it a signature issue for his presidency. The DEA says 114 people were arrested and were put on buses for bus them up. Processing and likely eventual deportation. It added that the nightclub had over, you know the movie Amistad, where they bring all the slaves over on the boats and they're packed in there like sardines. There's going to be in 10 years after Trump's gone and some Democrat gets in and we start letting all the illegals back in, there's going to be a movie like Amistad about Trump's presidency. And it's going to have all these abuelas, abuelitas on buses, and they're like, no, with their children. No, my son, my daughter, you're taking us back. We don't want to go back. And they get pushed onto a bus and they're like packed in there. Like, it's going to happen. Watch. We're going to get a movie like that in the future. So that's the big deportation story. But let me show you what the media does. Okay. So that story comes out. Then they need a cover story. They need something to say, because Americans are going to see that and they're going to be like, 114 illegal immigrants and drugs and methamphetamine and guns and crime-ridden neighborhoods and an underground nightclub, probably not even a legal nightclub, a legally operated nightclub. That's pretty bad. We need to get those type of people out of here. Well, the media has to run cover. So they got to give you a touchy-feely emotional story to keep the liberals happy. Something the liberals can focus on and be like, this is still bad. We should not be doing this. So from Fox 13 Tampa Bay, U.S. citizen children deported with their mothers, lawyers say. Hold on. And if that's not bad enough, one of the kids has cancer, okay? I'm not joking. ICE officers in Louisiana last week deported 3 children, ages 2, 4, and 7, who are U.S. citizens, along with their Honduran-born mothers. Lawyers say the women were arrested at routine ICE check-ins and were given virtually no opportunity to speak with them or family members. The cases come amid court battles over whether President Trump's immigration crackdown has violated fundamental rights. What we know, hold on. Maybe they took that part out. It was on Facebook. Okay, yeah, here we go. It's right there. Yeah. Okay. What we know, the 3 children, ages 2, 4, and 7, are U.S. citizens and were deported in recent days along with their Honduran-born mothers, their lawyers said over the weekend. Now, this is nice language, okay? Let me tell you what this should say. The 3 children, ages 2, 4, and 7, are U.S.-born naturalized citizens. They got their citizenship. Hold on. The 3 children, ages 2, 4, and 7, are anchor babies and were deported in recent days along with their illegal immigrant Honduran mothers, their lawyers said over the weekend. That's how it should read, but that's not how they write it, okay? What are you supposed to do? The moms are illegal immigrants. Their kids are anchor babies. What are you supposed to do? You can't you say don't put kids in cages. You hate the foster system. What are we supposed to say? You don't want family separation, right? We can't send the mothers back and put the kids in what, a foster home? What are we supposed to do? You want us to keep the families together? They all go back. And I don't think these kids are going to El Salvador. They're not going to, I always forget the name they're not going to see Bukele, you know? These kids they're going to go to Honduras with their mother, with their mother. Parents illegal and had the kids born here. Yeah. Deport Europeans in USA. Hey, I'm down. Actually, there is a story about that. I don't have it. I don't have it for the show today, but there was, and I don't know if it was real. It looked like one of the Facebook clickbait fake posts, but it said, "This is Angela," and it had a picture of this girl and her father on a hike. She came to America to hike the trails for 2 months, and she ended up getting deported because of Trump's immigration policies while she was simply hiking with her father. I saw a story like that on Facebook. I didn't save it because it looked fake, but I guess they are. They shouldn't even be citizens. If your parents aren't legal, you ain't either, cuh. Yeah, what are we supposed to do? Separate the families? They don't want us to do that. We're going to put the kids in a foster home? What's the best way to handle this? We got to deport the mothers. They're here illegally. The kids are naturalized citizens because they were dropped on American soil. They crawled right across the border and dropped on American soil. Hey, JS, mowing, be back. Mowing the lawn? You're mowing the lawn? Lawyers said the women were, I already read that. Family members were then deported within 3 days or less. A statement from the ACLU ACLU, American Civil Liberty Union, said the families were deported in the early hours of the morning on April 25th from the New Orleans ICE field office. One of the families included a U.S. citizen child diagnosed with a rare form of metastatic cancer who was deported without medication or the ability to consult with their doctor, the ACLU statement said. So 3 young American citizen children were deported, and one of them had cancer. Dun, dun, dun. This is why a lot of people who will be like, they say they're centrist, they'll be like, no, this is wrong, because the reason that all these illegal immigrants are coming over here is for access to our medical system. Their kids have cancer. If your kid had cancer, would you cross a border illegally to get them help and save their lives? Yeah, I might. You know, if that's what I got to do to save my kid's life, I'll do it. But also, I can't complain if I get caught and get sent back. I broke the law. You know, if my kid is starving, I may try to rob somebody to feed my child. That doesn't make robbery okay. If I get caught and go to jail, it sucks, but yeah, you don't get to go rob a bank because your family is poor. It's not an excuse. Sorry, you don't get to commit crimes, even if it means saving your family's life. I'm not saying you shouldn't try. If that's what you feel like you got to do, I understand. You're trying to save your children, but that doesn't mean we're not going to arrest you when you break the law, even if it is for a good cause. Just don't get caught, right? Right, yeah. Yep. Additionally, one of the mothers who was deported is pregnant and was not provided continual prenatal care or medical oversight. Bro, this lady's pumping out babies. At least we don't have to worry about the replacement rate. Well, it would be a different form of a replacement rate. When they come to America, we are meeting replacement, or we're having enough babies to replace the population, but it's a different kind of replacement rate now. You're replacing Americans with Hondurans, What we don't know, it's not known why the women were arrested or how long they have been living in the United States, though the ACLU said both had lived in the United States for years and had deep ties to their communities. Man, this is so sad. Dig deeper. The 4-year-old, who has the rare form of cancer, and the 7-year-old were deported to Honduras within a day of being arrested with their mother, Gracie Willis, of the National Immigration Project, told the Associated Press. In the case involving the 2-year-old, a federal judge in Louisiana raised questions about the deportation of the girl, saying the government did not prove it had done so properly. A May 16th hearing is scheduled concerning the 2-year-old's case, requested by legal U.S. District Judge Terry Daughtry. I think I've heard that name before. Probably not a good judge. In the interest of dispelling our strong suspicion that the government just deported a U.S. citizen with no meaningful process, he wrote. It's a 2-year-old. Their mother is here illegally. What do you want us to do? Would you rather we put the kid in foster care for the rest of their lives and send their mother home? No? Oh, what do you want? You want catch and release. You want, basically, you come over with a kid and you get to stay because you got a kid with you. And we can't separate families and we can't deport children, especially when they're born here. These are citizens. So they both say the whole family gets to stay. This is catch and release. And this is why cartels will kidnap children and then come over the border with kidnapped children who eventually go on to be trafficked. Great idea. How about we just send them home with their whole family? Send the whole family home. That seems like the most morally virtuous, but still consistent with the laws, law and order, maintaining law and order, and being moral, the most ethically, the most ethical situation here to still maintain law and order is to send the whole family home together. I don't see how people can't see that. I do feel bad for the children, but the Honduran people should fight for their nation's success. Yeah. Yeah, they should stay in Honduras. And where's the husbands? Where's the husbands? Where are the husbands? None of these women had husbands. Maybe if they would have come to America and had their children here and got married before they had their kids, then they would be citizens and there wouldn't be a problem. But they didn't do that. No. We don't want the white boy husband. We just want the baby for the citizenship. Keep the kid with the parents. Facts. Yeah, that's what you got to do. We got one more immigration story. Check this out. This is from Breitbart. This is from a couple weeks ago, and I forgot to 24th of April. Actually, it's from 4 days ago. I'm wrong. Let's take a look at this picture here from Breitbart. Disgraced New Mexico judge, wife arrested after allegedly harboring Tren de Aragua gang members. Is that you, Cesal? That look like Cesal. What the? Look at this judge drinking a Dos Equis. I don't always drink with Tren de Aragua, but when I do, I drink Dos Equis. A disgraced New Mexico magistrate judge and his wife are under arrest after they allegedly harbored reported Tren de Aragua gang members. The judge resigned from his position last week after Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials arrested a Venezuelan man said to be living on his property. Oh, what up, ese? This white judge, he's really nice. Thank you, King Blackout. I'd be okay with a Hispanic Catholic wife. I'd help make her legal. Yeah. I'm with it. Dude, I want some enchiladas when I get home from work. Long day at my trabajo. I need some comida. Can you make me some comida? I've been working long at my trabajo. I know Spanish. Seesaw looks better than that. Yeah. I just already read that. ICE law enforcement officials arrested recently resigned magistrate judge Joel Cano and his wife Nancy at their home in Las Cruces, New Mexico on Thursday. ICE officials executed a search warrant and probable cause warrant and took them into custody. Fox 14 El Paso reported Joel Cano is currently charged with tampering with evidence and his wife is charged with conspiracy to tamper, the report states. Oh, yes, I have an MS-13 tattoo on my face, but I am innocent. The Cano couple were booked into the Donna Ana County Detention Center between 6:30 and 7 p.m. on Thursday. The Albuquerque Journal reported they are currently being held without bond. Before being elected to the magistrate judge position in 2010, Joel Cano served for nearly 23 years in the Las Cruces Police Department. And now he's harboring gang members. Crazy. Joel Cano resigned from his position as a magistrate judge in Donna Ana County, New Mexico, after ICE agents raided his home and took 23-year-old Christian Ortega Lopez, a Venezuelan migrant who illegally entered the U.S. Venezuelan Tren de Aragua, he was released from a prison, entered the U.S. in December 2023 and is suspected of being a member of the Tren de Aragua gang, into custody on firearms-related charges. Federal prosecutors in the District of New Mexico alleged that Ortega Lopez was illegally in possession of a firearm and has ties to the hyper-violent Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. Earlier this year, President Donald Trump and the U.S. State Department declared the gang to be a foreign terrorist organization. So you're harboring terrorists. Y'all are fucked. Police arrested Ortega Lopez while executing a search warrant on February 28th at the home of Donna Ana County, New Mexico. Magistrate Judge Joel Cano and his wife. Another example of a movie they're going to have in 10 years. It's going to be like an Anne Frank story. They're going to be these 4 innocent young Venezuelan boys who came to America for a better life because they were being oppressed in Venezuela. They come to America on a train. They rode on the roof of a train and they come in under the great President Joe Biden, who made their life, gave them a chance at a better life. They get to America, and then the evil President Donald Trump comes into office, and they have to go into hiding, and they're constantly hiding from police until a great judge, a nice man, and his wife. The wife will be played by Angelina Jolie. The guy will be played by Robert De Niro. They come out and they find these young boys hiding in a bush in their backyard one day and they say, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And they say, "They're looking for us. We need to hide. All we want to do is make money to feed our family and home." And they say, "Come inside." And then they put them in the attic. And then there's this Gestapo are walking around, dum, 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 knocking on doors, looking, "Are you harboring any illegal Tren de Aragua members?" And they're upstairs in the attic shaking. "Oh, no, please don't let them find us." That's going to be a movie. I see it. I already see it. It's coming, trust me. 10 years from now. Whenever we have the next Democrat president, these movies are going to start coming out about how horrible Trump was and how it was the darkest time in American history. All right. Last little segment here in the main story news. We got crazy vehicle incidents, tragedies happening. Vancouver's in Canada, right? British Columbia, Canada. Yeah. A man is charged with murder after a SUV rams a crowd in Vancouver's darkest day. I've read a little bit about this. I've heard a little bit about this, and apparently this was not like terrorism. It's not like Waukesha or the Christmas Day. What is the other parade where like people drive through parades because they... Who's that? Daryl Brooks? What happened to that guy? Did that guy get life in prison? He better have. He was a douche to the judge. I remember following that case. That guy was crazy. Apparently this isn't one of those situations from what I've seen, but we're about to find out. It was more of an accident, like a car accident. But if he's being charged with murder and not manslaughter, then I don't know. Let's see. A man has been charged with murder after an SUV drove into a crowd of people at a Filipino festival on Saturday in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, police say. 11 people were killed and more than 24 were injured. Vancouver resident Kaiji Adam Low, 30 years old, was charged with 8 counts of second-degree murder. So it seems like it was intentional. Police said in a statement on Sunday afternoon. Police said Low has appeared in court and is in custody. The charge assessment is ongoing and further charges are anticipated, Vancouver police say. It wasn't immediately clear if Low has an attorney representing him. Authorities have not yet released a list of the victims and said some remain unidentified. In a Sunday afternoon news conference, a Vancouver police official said the ages of the dead range from 5 years old to 65. Damn. Well, see, that's sad. This is the darkest day in our city's history. Yeah, you don't hear a lot of crazy stories like this coming out of Vancouver. Take all the guns away. People still got cars. Oh, leave the Filipinos alone. Daryl Brooks got like 3 life sentences. Nice. He should have got a death sentence, but Waukesha, Wisconsin, they probably don't have it. Darkest day in our city, the death toll could still rise. The incident, which took place at an event called the Lapu-Lapu Day Block Party, is not suspected of being a terrorist attack. It took place. So, terrorist attack is a violent crime committed with political or religious reasons. So it still could be intentional. They're just not considering it a terrorist attack. He could just be a crazy guy that just wanted to drive through a crowd. And he's Asian. You said he's Filipino? Is he? It didn't. I mean, his name. Did it say he was Filipino? I don't think I read that, but. Yeah, what's this dude doing here? Is he legal? Is he a legal migrant? Probably here on a work visa. H-1B1. Not suspected of being a terrorist attack. It took place around 8:15 p.m. Saturday, just before sunset, as the event was winding down after thousands of people had been in attendance throughout the day. Speaking before charges were filed, Rye described the driver as having a significant history of interactions with police and healthcare professionals related to mental health. There are many unanswered questions about why this horrific crime happened, the motive of the person who did it, and whether anything could have been done to prevent it, Rye said. Yeah, well, you need red flag laws on vehicles. You know, I have friends, people I know with my life, my journey through life. I've dealt with a lot of like schizophrenic and mentally unstable people. And some of them can never get a driver's license. Like, they're not allowed to get driver's license because they're unstable. And I think that's good because some of them can't even ride a bike without getting. I'm not going to say a name, but I have a friend who's been hit by a cars like 4 times. It seemed like every month he would get hit by a car while he was riding his bike. I'm like, what are you doing? Do you like pay any attention to the world around you at all when you're riding your bike? I don't even know if you should be allowed to ride a bike, dude. You're going to get yourself killed one day. He was always getting hit by cars when he was riding his bike. He's like, these people don't know how to drive. I'm like, dude, you've been hit by like 4 cars in 6 months on your bike. I don't think it's the other people's fault. So I don't know if you have some serious mental illnesses, quote unquote, mental illnesses. Maybe you shouldn't be allowed to have a car. We need red flag car laws. Car is a weapon, 100%. Yeah. You know, you're not going to let this person buy a gun, but you're going to let him buy a 4,000-pound SUV. Like, no, no. Sounds like he's the problem. Exactly. Most of the block party took place on the grounds of a high school, away from publicly accessible streets, police said, but the neighborhood street behind the school, East 43rd Avenue, was lined on both sides with food trucks, with festival goers walking down the middle. That set the stage for a devastating toll as the driver drove a black Audi SUV into the crowd of hundreds. A video on social media, we're not going to play it. I haven't watched it. We're not going to play it, though. A video on social media appeared to show the immediate aftermath of the incident, with multiple bodies laying on the asphalt as bystanders tended to the injured. Scenery and food trucks seen in the video matched those seen in photographs taken at the scene by news photographers. He slammed the pedal down on the gas and just rammed into hundreds of people. It was like seeing a bowling ball hit all the bowling pins and all the pins go flying up in the air. Chris Pangilinan, who came to the festival to work a booth for his clothing and lifestyle brand, said in an interview with CBC News, "It looked like we were in a war zone. The driver was the only occupant of the car. According to authorities, he was arrested at the scene by Vancouver police." This is by NPR, by the way. I'm supposed to say where I'm reading from. Bystanders and witnesses intervened to detain him. Lapu-Lapu Day is a Filipino holiday named for an indigenous chief who won a 1521 battle with Spanish forces led by the explorer Ferdinand Magellan in the present-day Philippines. Okay, well, what race is this low guy? Is he Filipino? Vancouver is home to more than 100,000 Filipino Canadians. Incident raised questions about whether local police implemented adequate security. Conservative candidate. Oh, also Canada is having their election today. Conservative candidate Pierre Poilievre also responded to the incident. "Our hearts are with you today. All Canadians are united in solidarity with Philip." They call him conservative. He's not. "All Canadians are united in solidarity with the Filipino community. All Canadians are united with you in mourning the loss of these treasured lives." Still, the incident would be a watershed moment for the department. Rye said, "It goes without saying this will change the landscape for deployment for police going forward." In 2018, a man drove a van through a crowded Toronto sidewalk, killing at least 10 people and injuring more than a dozen. You know, they always say like, oh, the young white men in America are just shooting people up all the time. You're just going to get shot walking down the street by a young white man in America. Why did nobody ever say, you go to Canada, you're going to get a vehicle plowing through you. You go to dang UK, you're going to get stabbed up by a jihadi. So many of my Canadian friends said they're going to move if the wrong person gets elected at this point. People say that every election, though. You think they really will? People say that about Trump. I want to see Vancouver car Vancouver car attack suspect. They're not giving me a lot of information about the suspect. A 5-year-old confirmed dead. That's sad. No, RIP to the victims. God rest their soul. Driver, Lapu Lapu Festival. I'm looking for information on the suspect. Latest suspect named after 11 killed. Well, can you give me more than his name? What we know about the suspect?
When it came time to
Trying
take
to
things
find
to
out
the next
about this
level,
suspect.
I knew that I had to make a website, and Wix.
Canada is in shock this morning
If they play the
after
video,
a deadly car ramming in Vancouver. At least
if they play the video on CBS Morning News, I'm sure it's going to be not too graphic, but just in case, fair warning.
11 people were killed, dozens more injured. And police say the driver plowed through a street festival celebrating Filipino heritage on Saturday. Authorities say they don't believe the incident
This is
was an
supposed
act
to
of terrorism.
be what we know about
More
the
on this,
suspect.
I'm joined by
That's what I'm
CBS
trying to
News
find.
correspondent Elise Preston. She is in Vancouver with all the latest. Elise, this is horrific. What do we know about the suspect, the charges he faces, and how this is impacting the Filipino community there?
Errol, it is absolutely devastating and heartbreaking. We do know that police have identified that suspect as 30-year-old Kai G. Adam Lowe. And this morning they face 8 counts of second-degree murder charges after that horrific incident on Saturday. We do know, according to police, that Lowe was known to them, that they had had several interactions with Lowe in the past, dealing with his mental health. So
People who do stuff like this are always known to police. It's odd, isn't it?
he was no stranger to police from what we're hearing. As far as it's impacting the Filipino community, I can tell you that it is impacting.
That's all you're going to tell us about the suspect? Where's he from?
Everyone here in Vancouver. We've seen thousands of people.
Because, like, the reason I want to know is because let's say he's Chinese. And then, so then I would ask, well, do the Chinese have a problem with the Filipinos? If the answer is yes, then it is a terrorist attack. If you think he could be. Now, if he's Filipino and he does this at a Filipino thing, maybe that's why it would not get, terrorist charges. But if he's if the Filipinos' greatest rivals are like North Koreans and this guy's North Korean, then that would be an important piece of data. Or Indonesian? Kai G, definitely some kind of Asian. Yeah, Kai G Lo.
Drop by this scene.
He's got Adam in his name. That's probably something he added to his name once he came over to the West. I want to know if he's an immigrant. I want to know how long was he born in Canada? Did he immigrate to Canada? These are the things I want to know.
Seen over the last day or so and pay their respects. Even as early as this morning, we saw people coming up. They're lighting candles. They are leaving flowers. This is a very vibrant neighborhood. We're standing right next to a neighborhood school. And so many people are just kind of shocked that this would happen. I've spoken to so many people who said, we've seen these events happen in other places, but you would just never imagine that it would happen not only in Vancouver, but in this particular neighborhood. This was a festival where thousands of people came to celebrate Lapu Lapu Day, and it was a time that people say they were.
All right, they're not going to tell us anything about the suspect that we didn't already know. Oh, I wasn't even showing you the video. It's all right. It didn't really show it. It's just this lady reporter. Take a wild guess what. Never mind. Never mind. I won't say that. Name doesn't sound Korean, Chinese, or Japanese. One of the southern ones. Huh. Yeah, it's not telling us. One more crazy vehicle incident in Florida. Dude, what? I have not read this story yet, but I just threw it in here because it was a crazy headline. What did this boat get hit by a meteor or something? What is this? Florida boat collision leaves 1 dead and at least 10 people injured. See, the other thing I said it was a mass casualty incident. I guess that still would be a mass casualty incident because casualty, usually when you see casualty, you think death. Casualty does not imply death. you could have structural casualties. A recreational boat crashed into a ferry transporting 45 people on the final day of Sand Sculpting Festival in Florida, killing one person and injuring at least 10 others, officials said. This is in Clearwater. The crash late Sunday in calm waters off Clearwater on the western Florida coast set off an emergency response due to the high number of possible casualties. Video of the accident released by law enforcement Monday at a news conference showed the recreational vehicle plowing into a family. There's video of this? Plowing into the ferry from behind at dusk near a causeway. We were just enjoying. Where's the video? I kind of would like to see this video because just the damage looks odd. Clearwater boat accident video. Okay, let's see this. It just looks crazy.
Okay, eBay.
No audio. All right. It's coming up behind it right here. So here's the ferry, here's the boat, moving way too fast in probably a no wake zone. Oh, it jumped on top of him. That's wild. It comes up directly from behind and just goes up on top of the ferry. Here it comes. Yeah, moving way too quick in this area. All of this area under these bridges in these harbor areas where all these boats and docks are no wake zones. You should not be going that fast. This person was probably drunk. I wonder. I wouldn't be surprised if this person was drunk. Yeah, you're screwed. That person needs to go to jail for sure. That's wild. 45 people on. And then so here's that's why it looks like it got hit by a meteor or something, because the boat came up behind them. It had enough speed that the nose of the boat was lifting up and it jumped on top of it like it's in a movie or something. That's crazy. We were just enjoying the ride, and all of a sudden we heard the first mate yelling, "Hey, hey, hey." Marco Vacheco, who was on the ferry with Brenda Alvarez and her 2 young children, told WFTS. And we looked back behind us, and this big yacht just came through the boat. The operation of the recreational boat was cooperating with authorities, and a breathalyzer test showed no alcohol impairment. Okay. Well, I'm glad so, yeah, I was thinking he had to be drunk, but okay. Dude, there's another ant. Where are these ants coming from? They're from that desk in there. I got to go. I must have dropped crumbs or something. I got black ants in my room. Fish and wildlife officers would recommend that if someone is involved in an accident, you remain at the scene. Emergency dispatchers, horrific screaming, injured passengers have broken bones, soft tissue injuries, and head injuries. Yeah, a boat landed on top of their head. When our crew first arrived, they found themselves in the water trying to rescue people. On top of that, they're trying to figure out who was the most injured. Probably the person that didn't survive. The ferry came to rest on a sandbar just south of Memorial Causeway Bridge. The crash took place in an area without speed restrictions. So I was wrong about that. Huh. That's surprising. That area looked like the type of place that would be a no-wake zone. Dang, so still you got to charge that guy with something. Never expected any of this happen. We can't understand how fast they were going. Like, how is that even logically possible that they hit and were able to get off like that? Did they go all the way? Well, it looked like the video froze, but it looked like it came to rest on top of the thing. But I guess the boat went all the way over, but we didn't see that in the video. The video stops. Videos on social media showed several first responders. Sunday was the last day of the Sugar Sand Festival. That's where they built a bunch of sand castles. Yeah, so the boat went all the way over it? That's crazy. Yeah, that guy definitely needs to be charged with something reckless and like something. I don't know. Boat crashes are pretty deadly. I know that from living near a lake. Most of the time, it's someone leaving the wheel while they grab a drink. Right. And I know boaters often, usually, especially in Florida and Clearwater, like 90% of the people on boats are drinking. But I was wrong about both of my assumptions. And that's why I say I'm just thinking out loud. Doesn't mean I'm right. I'm just guessing. And if I would have just read the article first, I would not have said that. But I like to do my reactions live with you guys. And when I saw that, I thought, that looks like a no-wake zone, and that guy's probably drunk. Apparently it was. There were no speed limitations, and the guy was not drunk. So he still needs to be charged with something. A manslaughter, reckless endangerment, something. You're going way too fast, and yeah. I think that's boats everywhere with the drinking. Yeah. Yep. Gotta be drinking if you're on a boat. I'm on a boat, bitch. Of course I'm drinking. Okay. That's it for the main story news. We went kind of long with that because we were watching that debate opening. One of these memes looks like there's, when you first see it, you're going to think that there's nudity in it. There is not any nudity in it, okay? So, just so you know, fair warning, and for YouTube, there's no nudity in this picture. It just looks like it. You'll see in a second, but hello, paper bag queen. It's time, guys, for what's the time for? Time for Stop. Meantime. Let's go. The power of haircuts. Look at this lion. What up with that lion? What that lion doing? Look at that lion. The power of haircuts. We got. Where's Dreadlock Lion? Where's Dreadlock Lion? This is me Lion. This is Ice-T Lion. Where's Dreadlock Lion? Dude, look how much this lion changes with a haircut. All right. Next, don't bait Hanson like that. Oh, no, they didn't. Pride with a riot. This is not a meme. This is actually a post on Facebook from the Utah protest group. This is a protest that's going to be happening on April 27th, yesterday. Pride with a riot is the name of the protest. Pride with a riot. Interesting. Well, at least they're and look at these like African people wearing like African garb. They don't want to be included in. Is this guy holding a gun? That looks like a penis. This guy's holding a little tiny piece in his hand. Let's see if we can spot any other weaponry. Where's Waldo? Where's Waldo? Oh, Waldo's not gay. He ain't gonna be this mess. Okay. But isn't that, at least they're being honest. And also, I think AI made this picture because what the hell is this flag? What is this? This is not a flag. Look at this Mexican guy. All right, next. Doesn't that look like fun? Here's another one. This is an Antifa meme. This is the left's version of a meme. He should have just obeyed the law, says thin blue line guy pointing at Jesus. Hey, dummies. He did obey the law. He was innocent. Stupid meme. Next. This is okay. There's no nudity in this picture, guys. So this proves Katy Perry did not go to space after all, or did go to space after all. The G-forces weren't that kind. She got some SAG action going on. What the? I don't want to go to. Looks like the normal woke mob. I don't want to go to that party. When I first saw this, I was like, "Whoa!" There's breasts in this picture, but they're covered up. Katy Perry did go to the moon. Gravity is real. Next. And then I got the libs to defend MS-13. How does Tucker Carlson laugh? Tucker Carlson sounds like SpongeBob when he's laughing. And then I got the libs to defend MS-13. Next. We got a lot of memes. I got to go quick. LGBTQ MS-13. Babylon B, MS-13 added to the LGBTQ acronym. LGBT MS-13. LGBTQ MS-13. What do you mean MS-13? SA? I am not in that. My tattoos mean multiple sclerosis. My tattoos mean macho super. 13 is how old I was when I first learned to drink cervezas. Knee socks with pool balls. Okay. Next. They're catching on. They're catching on. Hey, ladies. Ladies, but you're just talking to me. I know, but you like to send our conversations to your best friends. You're talking to all the ladies. All the ladies. Next. This is true, too. Next. This is not a meme. I thought I was going to be debating the Department of Education on BK, but I got kicked out right before that topic came up, which is the topic that I was most interested in. Macho Super. So this is the total funding for the Department of Education is $241 billion. $171 billion of that is the Office of Federal Student Aid funding. What that is for Pell Grants, student loans, and scholarships for higher education. So the vast majority of our Department of Education spending is not going towards this chunk right here is for low-income families and schools in low-income areas, which we give them a whole bunch of federal funding, but they seem to do worse and worse on test scores. It doesn't get better. It gets worse. When we throw more money at the problem and it doesn't get any better. But this big majority here is actually going for higher education. It's for college kids to get into college for free. But the thing is, that's a bait and switch. That's a bait and switch. They don't pay for your full college usually, unless you get a scholarship, which is merit-based, which maybe I'm okay with some federal spending for scholarships if the people earn it. And there needs to be very high standards for that, and not some affirmative action crap. But a lot of these Pell Grants and these loans that we give to kids to go to college just puts them in debt for the rest of their lives. And then they come out of college with a stupid degree in underwater basket weaving or liberal arts or like psychology or something. Then they come out to find out everybody's a psychologist now. And, and they get a job for BetterHelp, answering a phone and talking to people on the phone. And they can't pay back their student loans. They're in debt forever. They become debt slaves. And that's what the majority of our Department of Education funding is going to. It's not going to poor kids in Detroit. Did you hear about the fight against it? Against the Department of Education? Yeah, that's why I was looking into it. Why is the first one not judged, but the second one offends? We have a nun and a hijabi. Answer: nuns don't randomly explode. Good one, Ian Riot. Next. When someone tries to give me advice, but their birth year starts with a 2. What the? A 2? A 2? College ed needs to have a hand turkey drawing of finger painting for the degree. Yeah, facts. I only had $11K in loans, which was accrued in my last 2 semesters. Yeah, but you were probably doing a STEM field. You were probably in STEM, and you're probably one of the higher echelons of intelligence in people, and you probably got out and got a really good paying job, which is why you're able to buy a 5090. Jeremy, my master's degree cost me a whole $150. Bullshit. You had to pay back the loans. You mean at the time it cost you? At the time it cost you $150, but you still had to pay back the loans, right? Next. We're not talking about you, Jeremy. We're talking about the chicks that get loans to go study sociology. I went to college on a GED, JS. I went into college on a GED. Yeah, but you had to pay back your loans, right? So it cost you more than $150. I got a GED. Maybe you're not the highest echelon of smart people. I didn't take loans for my master's degree. Well, then how did it cost you $100? You just said I only had $11K in loans. I'm confused. You're confusing me, Jeremy. You can tell me about it at another time because I got to hurry up and get through this. Christians have no pope. The pope is dead. Christians have no pope. Christians need no pope. Christians never had a... You could also do the astronaut gun meme. Christians have no pope. Never did. Next. A male guinea pig named Randy broke into a female-only enclosure and impregnated all 100 of them. Shout out Randy. Randy was getting Randy. Are you Randy, baby? Do you want a shag? Are you Randy? Randy killing it. Killing the guinea pig poo nanny. You missed my first comment? Pell Grants and KHEA money paid for almost all my bachelor's degree. Well, it's not going to happen anymore once we get rid of the Department of Education. Sorry about that, buddy. That means taxpayers paid for your education. You damn freeloader. No, I'm kidding. Well, I'm not kidding, actually. It's not, that might not be happening much longer, but probably will, but you know. But see, you're like the exception to the rule. The majority of college kids are not going into STEM fields. And what do? You do engineering or something in technology or engineering. Exactly. And what did you repay? He said he only paid $150. Sounds like a good deal. Maybe you just have the Pell Grants and loans for certain degrees, like the STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, math, and I add medical to that. But I think medical counts as science. It's cool. We don't mind paying for your education. Yeah. He's not going to college for women's studies, right? Yeah. He didn't go to college for drama and interpretive dance like Jalen. I worked for the university when I was getting my master's degree, so grad school was an employee benefit. Oh, okay. Well, see, so you earned it. You did have to Time is money. Maybe it only costs you $150, but how many hours of time cooking chili and bacon? Sounds good. He's in he's in some sort of tech field. I don't know what exactly, but I don't need to know. But anyway, shout out Randy next. I don't know if that's a real story, but it's pretty awesome for Randy. I think we've done this meme before years ago, but it's the 3-year anniversary. So that's what I should have done. I should have went through and collected memes from the show's history and just done all old memes. But I think we've done this one before. Only 6% of people can handle this puzzle. These 3 want to share 2 apples equally. How you handle this with using only 1 stroke of the knife. We have 2 apples, 3 people, 1 knife, and we get 1 stroke. How do we solve this problem so that we both get equal amount of apples? Have you ever seen the movie The Dark Knight? You know, when he breaks the pool stick and he throws it on the floor because there's 2 guys and he says, we're only hiring 1 today. It's time for tryouts. Look at the monkey. Monkey says, sorry, Jenny. You about to get stabbed up by Billy here. You going down, girl. Systems Administration, Network Administration with an InfoSec focus. Dude, I need a college degree to know what that means. I don't even know what that means. Next, the pencil trick. Yep. All right. Federal judge rules marrying American boar goat doesn't guarantee citizenship. Millions in Michigan face deportation to Palestine. They're out there marrying goats. This is an article written by D. Snuts. D. Snuts wrote this article. Obviously, it's a true story. Obviously, it's real. D. Snuts. Sorry, Dearborn residents, you cannot get your citizenship from marrying American goats. Next. I'm an astronaut, just like my hero, Katy Perry. Rocket Man. Let's watch this rocket take off. Okay. Next. The first all-female spacewalk is underway. Did the satellite dishes need washing? I think we did this meme too when this happened. This was a while ago that this happened. Remember one of these ladies lost the toolbox in space? I always got to remind people of that story because it's so funny. It's so funny. It was like you couldn't write this. First all-female spacewalk. They're walking around on the space station. And they lost the toolbox. The toolbox went flying off into space with their space tools. And this is NASA. So each of those, like a space screwdriver from NASA probably cost American taxpayers like $500,000. And they just lost it. It just flew off into space. They were supposed to just wash the satellite dishes. Loving the sum up videos for street foods lately. Next. Looking back at the shit we watched growing up, I'm surprised our generation turned out halfway normal. Dude, there was so much nightmare fuel on children we were watching when we were kids. I don't remember what this is. This is, I forget what this is from, but I did see it. Beetlejuice, Tales from the Crypt, Gremlins, Freddy Krueger. Oh my God, I hated Wizard of Oz. It scared the crap out of me. Not so much the Wicked Witch, but the freaking flying monkeys freaked me out. I did not like little people, and flying monkeys freaked me out. I didn't like that movie. I never liked Wizard of Oz. It always scared me when I was a kid. Same thing with Willy Wonka, the Oompa Loompas. Something about little people with makeup on freaked me out. Chucky. But Chucky didn't freak me out. Chucky was lame. He's like the lamest of all the horror movie villains. Like I could just grab him by his hair and drop kick him into the ocean or something. It freaky. This guy from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, why did he have these black spots on his nose and his cheeks? It was so weird. This show is creepy. And people are like, Mr. Rogers was a Christian man, a great man, and blah, 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 blah. Dude, that show was freaky. I don't care what anybody says. I would not let my kids watch that. Next. It's a beautiful day. I know you like her, son, but you can't just pull a girl's hair. Until she's 30 or so, they actually come around on this one. 30? More like 18, legally. Shoot, I'll tell you what, when I was under 18, this was legal because I was under 18 and they were under 18. They like it younger than 30. Just saying. Degen stuff. Let's change the meme. Next. Middle East Lego sets now available. We've done this one before too. This is like a blast from the past. We've seen this before. I forgot the sound effects. No, wait, wrong one. Where's...
No, that doesn't work either.
Next. Trump's skin returns to normal human color after ban on artificial dyes. Dang.
It's a man, baby.
There's a gray man. The gray man. Hold on, Echo. We're not even going to have time for rapid fire. I got to go quicker. Nazi scientists after World War II looking for a new job. I go to America. I go to America. I'm going to America. Me and my retarded brother Bill, we keep him in the cage. And my sister, she would tease him and say, you'll never get this. You'll never get this. La la la. One day, Bill, he break out of the cage and he get this. Next. AOC, if socialism doesn't work, why are all my socialist friends in D.C. multimillionaires? Deep thoughts with AOC.
You ain't got the answers, man. I've been doing this more than you. You ain't been doing the education.
Bro.
That Mr. Rogers puppet was Lady Elaine Fairchild. Oh, yeah, it was a chick, huh? It was a chick puppet, but it looked like a dude. Anyway, next. Google did nothing for Easter again. I actually noticed this before I saw this meme. Stubborn sent me this meme. And on Easter Day, I was on Google. And I didn't think about it at the time. There was no like special Google thing. But the next day, there was a special Google thing. And I was like, wait, they didn't do one for Easter. But they did one for like Science Day or something the day after Easter. Ramadan, check. Kwanzaa, check. Pride Month, check. The silence tells you how Google feels about Christians. This is Ramadan, Pride Month, Kwanzaa, special Google. No special Google on Easter. Sad. Screw you, Google. Pride Month is gay. Change my mind. We are coming up on... Is Pride Month... Pride Month begins in like 3 days. Pride Month coming up. When the cashier asks if you want to donate to the poor, I am the poor. Donate to me. Give me the money that people have been donating. Echo, why are you breathing so hard, buddy? I know, I gotta stop by 8:45 so I can take Echo out. We only have 30 minutes left, guys. I gotta get through this stuff. I'm gonna get through this. The odds of being attacked by a cat with a tank are low, but never zero. It is not a zero-sum possibility that you could be attacked by a cat tank. Dun, dun, dun. I don't have a sound effect for that. Next. Hope I got my ticket. It says, please have ticket or ass ready. Dude, I don't want to have my ass ready. I'm going to have a ticket.
Beta!
Next. When you say LMAO too much, when you say laugh my ass off too much, you become Taylor Swift. What the? That girl ass inverted. That's a concave ass. That ass concave. That ass go in. What the? Dang. It's already started? Pride half year. You know, in Canada, it's actually Pride season. It's like 3 months. That's honestly so gross. What, you don't like that? Boom, 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 boom. You don't like that dumper? Next. Breaking. Jeffrey Epstein accuser Virginia Guiffre has died by suicide. You think so? You think so? I don't think so. Look at Ghislaine looking treacherous in the back. In the bite. Next. 19-year-old counsel in my head. Actual 19-year-old counsel. The PlayStation 3? Guys, I'm getting old. We're getting old. We're getting old, guys. Next. Toilet out of order. Please use floor below. All right. You say so. Zip. Sigh. Zip. I'm going to use the floor right below this sign. Okay. You told me to. You're the one who has to clean it up. Next. The biggest joke on mankind is that computers have started asking humans to prove that they are not a robot. Dang. Dang.
No, that doesn't work either.
Dang. We started back in February. Oh, are you in Canada? Yeah, they do it. They do it for like 3 months in Canada. It's crazy. Next. When the World Economic Forum says by 2030 you will own nothing and be happy, but you already own nothing and are happy. Hey, you have no power here. You cannot control me. I've always had nothing, and I've always been happy. I've been broke my whole life. Now money right. That's right. That's the super chat noise. Nobody sent a super chat yet for the 3-year anniversary. I'm very disappointed. You guys need to hit up this Cashapp here, $ Dreadedconservative, or the super chats. It's 3 years I've been doing this. I've been doing the education. That's because Canada is gay. Yeah, pretty much. I was going to make a Muslim joke, but they always blow up in your face. Damn. Hold on. What the? Next. Psst. Hey, European citizen. Want to buy some illegal memes? You're going to go to jail. You buy these memes. Next. Wolf, falcon, lion, human. Cow, sheep, deer. Vegan. What the? Whoa. What the heck is that thing? These eyes look like another meme we got coming up. Next. This one right here. Look into my eyes. Which way? This way? That way. This way? That way. How do I look into your eyes? You look like a vegan. You look very similar to this guy in this last picture. Little Mermaid. Merman. Next. I just want the same deportation policy as Martha's Vineyard. Don't we all? Don't we all, Janice? I just want the same deportation policy as Martha's Vineyard. Next. The left spreading their message of peace. It's a coexist cocktail. It's a Molotov coexist cocktail. If you write coexist on your Molotov cocktail before you throw it at a Tesla, that's the left. That's peace. We can all live together. We can all be peaceful together.
No, that doesn't work either.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Did you know the eagle's cry isn't an eagle? Oh, that sound that they always play, the caw. That's not an actual eagle. What is it? A peregrine falcon. That's my favorite bird. Next. That's the fastest animal in the world. Not land animal, but the peregrine falcon's dive speed is like 212 miles per hour. It's freaking crazy. Next. I got this pie from the store and thought it would be fun to decorate it like this. My girlfriend said it was childish. Your girlfriend sucks because that pie is awesome. You know what would really be childish is if you carved your girlfriend's face into the pie and then you put the whipped cream on it. That would be childish. Now that would be messed up. But this is great. I love this pie. Next. Analysts clarify that Trump is only responsible for the stock market when it goes down. Sounds about right. Next. The red-tailed hawk. Okay, red-tailed hawk or red-breasted hawk? Is that different than a red-breasted hawk? We had red-breasted hawks in Florida. Red-tailed hawk's probably different. Could be similar, though. Next. Retarded Disney princess. French fried potatoes. Crayons. Speaking of crayons, we need a clip of Grumpelstiltskin eating a crayon on stream. That was so funny. He ate the whole thing. And he swallowed it. He didn't spit. Not too sure. I'm especially happy there's part of the pie without whipped cream, so I can have a slice. I'm not a huge whipped cream fan myself either. I used to have a huffing addiction, so I can't get near whipped cream cans. Steve-O said that in a the rise and demise of Steve-O documentary about how he got into huffing nitrous, and he went to a bar and he got like a cappuccino. And they're like, "Do you want some whipped cream?" And he's like, "No, I was addicted to huffing nitrous for 4 years. I can't. If you put that in my coffee, I'm gonna relapse." Next, Elon Musk should purchase Harley Davidson. I'd like to see the reactions of liberals vandalizing a biker bar parking lot. Facts. Let's see how that turns out for him. Next, because it's true too, because mostly liberals own Teslas. So they're just vandalizing like their own people's vehicles. It's kind of stupid. Probably a lot of conservatives bought Teslas after Elon came out as somewhat based. Maybe a deception. I'm not an Elon nut rider. I think he could potentially be the Antichrist, but mostly liberals were buying Teslas. Now maybe more conservatives do, but go to a biker bar and try that crap. Next. Looking like a meal. Looking like a meal. What? I think you spelled male wrong. I think you misspelled male. Yep.
It's a man, baby.
Sorry, I'll get that off your screen, guys. Next. I won't let them remove you from the voter rolls, baby. Look at Nancy. Nancy got them what do they call them? The heavies. Nancy got them heavies with this MS-13 guy. Hollywood. I like to go to the Hollywood. Is that? I know who you're talking about, Jeremy. No comment. No comment. Oh, man. I remember the first time I was listening to Sarah's stream at work one day, and that person came on. And then I was listening for a while, and then I looked at my phone, and I was like, whoa, that's who's been talking this whole time? What the fuck? What?
It's a man, baby.
Okay, next. White Pride Month. Happy White Heterosexual Pride Month, everyone. Guys, we got a new Pride Month coming up. It's White Boy Summer. New White Pride Month coming up. Look at this girl looking beautiful. And she's a cartoon. Happy White Heterosexual Pride Month, everyone. Next. Democrats begin chugging artificial food dyes to protest RFK. Next. I can't believe he didn't cry during Titanic. Do men even have feelings? Mythbusters proves Jack could have fit. We do have feelings. Our feelings are, you should have just scoot your fat ass over, Rose. Give Jack a little space. Next. Conservatives, be warned. Liberal men will fight. Liberal men will fight.
Beta!
Next. What do blacks and whites have in common? They both don't want to raise black kids. Whoa! 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 Whoa!
No, that doesn't work either.
That's racist. I don't like that joke. Next. In case of miracle, break the glass. In case of a miracle, break glass. It's a condom. Who uses those? I'm King Incel. I'm King Incel. I'm not a virgin, but I'm King Incel. But I never used one of these things. That's
beta.
I ain't trying to have sex with rubber. Is you crazy? Next. People will say, if you're not a virgin and you used to be a slut maker, that means you're not an incel, Josh. Well, I'm celibate for a long time now, for like 6 years, maybe 7. And I don't believe in free will. Therefore, I'm an incel. Because it's not me voluntarily doing it. It's God's will for me not to be making sluts, not to be a slut maker. So, I'm an incel. Same, Josh. You don't like the latex either? I'm allergic to latex. Sorry. Did you bring a condom? Well, no, I'm allergic to latex. I can't do it. That's the go-to. That's the go-to line right there. Room is completely engulfed in flames. You can only save one. Next meme. I'm not even gonna answer that one. If going to space for 3 minutes makes you an astronaut, then I'm a gynecologist. I spent at least 3 minutes examining the gynecological zone before. Therefore, I'm a gynecologist. Bottom right, don't say it. Don't say it, Robert. I would never say that. No. No. Next. Well, damn, glad I'm not the only one. Sheepskin all the way, other than an IUD. Sheepskin. What is this? What is this? The like 500 BC? We're using like lamb intestines? Next. Congratulations, Katy Perry and Blue Origin crew. You did the same thing Ham the Chimp did in 1961. You did the same thing. What was that dog's name? Sputnik. You did the same thing Sputnik did, the dog, the golden retriever, in like 1958. You don't have to say it. We all know. No. Next. They're undoing everything you did as president, Joe. I was president? I didn't, what? Huh? Well, you know, I didn't know that I was president of America. Beta president. And that is it, guys. That is it for the me. All right, stop that. Get that out of here. Get that out of here. Okay, that's it for the memes. I got 15 minutes to do rapid fire news, and we got a lot of stories. So we're just going to burn through some headlines real quick. Some interesting stuff happened this week. Like I said, not a lot of huge world-altering news stories, but we do still have some funny reels and some headlines we can burn through real quick. Whoa! We're not doing reels this week. We're doing YouTube shorts, but they're still pretty funny. Sometimes we do Instagram, sometimes we do X, sometimes we do Facebook. This week we're doing YouTube shorts. A lot of times they're just the same thing on different platforms, but this is pretty funny.
Whoa! A turtle! That's a tortoise. That's a turtle. That's a tortoise. That's a fucking turtle. I just made a diorama on reptiles. I know everything about...
I just did a diorama on reptiles. I know everything about fucking turtles.
Pet savings you'll love are at best.
I think it had a tail and it swam. I think the main delineation is that terrapins, remember we talked about terrapins? all tortoises are turtles, but not all turtles are tortoises. Tortoises. Key difference lies in their habitat and physical adaptations. Tortoises are exclusively land-dwelling, while turtles are primarily aquatic. So the fact that it was swimming means it was a turtle. That kid was right.
Whoa! A turtle! That's a tortoise.
This little asshole. There's always one of these guys. There's always this guy who's got to be like, actually, that's a tortoise. And they're wrong. The one who does that is usually wrong. Actually, it's a tortoise.
That's a turtle. That's a tortoise. That's a fucking turtle. I just made a diorama on reptiles. I know everything about
tortoises.
Jesus' ministry and the resurrection.
Okay, we're not watching that. That's just the next video that played.
Your name from me?
My name is Yolanda, Yolanda.
Mother of Christmas Eve, what the fuck? Damn it!
Get down.
I don't want to die.
Just stay down and get down. That's okay. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Just stay down and get down.
Stay down and get down.
No, they're coming back.
Okay.
You okay, Jay? Thank you, Lord, for the blood of Jesus that cover us. Thank you, Father, for the blood of Jesus. Thank you, Lord. All right. We should be all right.
She's just like, all right, let's get up. We're good. She's been in the hood too long.
All right, when you're ready.
That ain't her first rodeo with a drive-by. Listen to this. I got to do this. I want to do this at a McDonald's. This is so funny. Listen to this.
All right, when you're ready.
Hey, I just want to let you guys know, you guys have a lady back here. She got no teeth, asking for a Big Mac with no onions and a small milkshake in exchange for sex.
Stop it. I'll let my manager know. Can I take your order?
Let me get a Big Mac with no onions and a small milkshake.
You are nasty.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Dude, I got to try that. That's so funny. Dude about to get some toothless sass. Oh, the woman gonna have the sass. All right. All right, let's do these headlines real quick. I gotta go quick because I still gotta walk Echo and get to work. You guys like that one? Dude, I was cracking up. I was like, oh my God, I gotta try that the next time I'm at a McDonald's. That's so funny. Let me get a Big Mac with no onions and a small milkshake. I still don't get that joke. He said there's a woman saying she wants a Big Mac with no onions and a small milkshake in exchange for sex. And the lady's like, oh no. And then he says, let me get a Big Mac with no onions and a small milkshake. What do you mean you don't get it? Okay. Texas passes rapid fire news. We're going to do the headlines. We're going to skim through the articles. I got 10 minutes before I got to go because I still got to walk Echo. Try to do this as quick as possible. People say that I spurg on this show. Listen, I'm not spurg. I know I talk fast and I we go through the stories. I get a little ADHD and I jump around to different topics a lot. I can't help it. This used to be a 5-hour show. We used to do the Monday night show for 5 hours because I didn't have work the next day. I would just take my time, go through all the news, then do an ending segment that's like 2 hours long about going in, deep diving into different ideas. Be a 5 or 6 hour show a lot of times. Now it's a 2 hour and 45-minute show because I got to get to work. But I still put a whole bunch of stuff in, so we got to get through it. I'm not spurging. I'm not a spurg. Dodo. Do what you do. Okay. This is crazy. And this is, I think, probably like fake news that they're just doing to scare people because, you know, RFK is doing the things with the Vaselines and he's getting rid of Vaseline. So the liberals are saying, well, now everybody's going to start dying of measles and shingles and chicken pox because we're not going to have our vaccines anymore. Even though all the kids are going to stop being autistic, but we're going to die from shingles. You know, in the old days, you would take your kids to a chickenpox party. When one of the kids had chickenpox, you'd throw a chickenpox party, and you'd bring all the kids to the chickenpox party, and all the kids would get chickenpox. People think nowadays people are so soft. They're like, oh, that's child abuse. Why would you do such thing? It's called building an immune system. If the kid gets chickenpox when they're kids, they're probably not going to die of shingles when they get older. If you give them a chickenpox Vaseline, I need to stop saying this stuff because it's going to get me hit with like medical something or other. But you know what I'm saying, guys. You know what I'm saying. Take your kids to a chickenpox party, okay? Just get the kids chickenpox, get it out of the way, and you don't need to worry about all this mess. But the story, Texas passes 600 cases of measles. Here's what you need to know about the U.S. outbreaks. This is from 10KW TV. Texas has more than 600 known cases of measles on Tuesday as the outbreak in the western part of the state approaches a 3-month mark. Get ready for the next COVID. There's going to be a measles outbreak now. The U.S. was up 800 cases of measles nationwide on Friday. 2 unvaccinated elementary school-age children died from measles-related illnesses in the epicenter in West Texas. Oh, it's always the children. And an adult in New Mexico who was not vaccinated died of measles-related illness. Other states with active outbreaks defined as 3 or more cases include India, Kansas, Michigan, Montana, Oklahoma. North America has 2 other outbreaks, one in Ontario, one in Canada. Has sickened 925 from mid-October. As of Tuesday, the Mexican state of Chihuahua state has 514 measles cases. According to data from the state health ministry, the World Health Organization has said cases in Mexico are linked to the Texas outbreak. So blame America. Blame America. Everybody's getting measles because RFK is fear-mongering people about vaccines, and that's why everybody's going to start dying of measles. We're going to have a measles epidemic. A pandemic of measles. I ain't got no measles. I ain't scared of no measles. Measly measles. I ain't scared of that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Dang. Oh, we're going to do a robot segment, and this isn't going to let me read this. Business Insider is telling me, I guess I ran out of Business Insider free articles. Anyway, the headline, I can't read it, but it says, it's something about Elon Musk says China is worried about certain magnets used for its human robot, AI robot purposes. Basically, China's saying Elon can't have his robots in China because they use a specific magnet that they're worried is going to mess with their AI systems or tracking systems or some crap like that. That's what the story is. But another robot story, check this out. Atlas, the iconic Boston Dynamics robot, now functions entirely on its own. Look at this scary looking ass robot. This looks like something from a movie. This is the Eye of Sauron. It's on a robot. This thing is functioning autonomously. This thing has free will. I need to stop. I gotta stop. I need to stop. See, it will never end if I don't stop making jokes. But since its debut in 2013, Atlas, the humanoid robot from Boston Dynamics, has wowed audiences with its incredible agility and impressive physical feats. But now the robot has reached a major milestone: autonomy. Thanks to advancements in both its hardware and software, Atlas has evolved beyond just a display of physical prowess. It can now perform tasks entirely on its own without human intervention or pre-programmed movements. iRobot is happening soon. The robots are going to take over. If it's not a Star Wars with satellites with freaking lasers on their freaking heads, it's going to be AI robots wiping out the human race. Get ready, guys. The end is nigh. The end is nigh. Look up the burning module. Imagine getting chased down by that thing. Where is my baby daddy? What the? Hey, James, where is my baby daddy? They started. James, you should have Seasal on as a guest on your stream someday. She knows her Bible. She knows her Bible well. Let's see this video real quick.
Boston Dynamics just changed the game. Their iconic robot Atlas now functions completely on its own. We've seen Atlas run, jump, flip, and move like a futuristic gymnast. But now, the legendary humanoid robot has
AI.
reached a new
Look at
level.
the way his legs are moving.
Full
That's fake.
autonomy. That's right. No human joystick, no famous for its viral backflips and obstacle course runs, is now more than just a lab-controlled stunt machine. Let's dive in. Boston Dynamics to move through the world.
This is all fake. Anyway. Who could be the new pope? We don't have time to read this. I was going to look at potential pope candidates. Judge halts parts of Trump's overhaul of U.S. elections, including proof of citizenship requirement. Wait. That's an overhaul of our election system to say that you need proof of citizenship to vote? And a judge is halting that? Are you saying, was it the same judge that had the Trinidad gang members living in their house? Is that the judge that said, so we're not allowed to check for citizenship before people vote? That's what Trump is trying to get done. And judges are halting him from being able to do that. Does that make any sense to you? Especially when people have been saying for a long time that they're bringing illegal immigrants in to affect the voter rolls, to affect because they'll still be put down on the census, and then it'll affect the number of seats in Congress and House and the number of electorates that a state has based on its population. And potentially, if these people are ever given asylum or a pathway to citizenship or a way to vote, that a Republican's never going to win ever again. And people say, no, that's just a crazy conspiracy. And then Trump says, I want to make it so you have to show that you are a legal citizenship if you want to vote. And a judge halts that. Meanwhile, we got judges with gang members living in their freaking attic. Wow. That makes a lot of sense. Conspiracy theorists were right again. Massive power outage in Spain and Portugal leaves thousands stranded and millions without light. That's crazy. Barcelona, Spain, an unprecedented blackout brought much of Spain and Portugal to a standstill Monday, stranding thousands of train passengers and leaving millions of people without phone and internet coverage and access. Well, too bad they don't have Starlink to cash from ATMs across the Iberian Peninsula. The sudden crash of power grid also left authorities searching for its cause. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez addressed the nation and said that almost 11 hours after the nation ground to a halt, government experts were still trying to determine what happened. We have never had a complete collapse of the system. I told you guys, if it's not the AI robots and it's not the space wars with the satellites with lasers, the grid's going down. I made merch one time because we know the line here, my famous line, when the grid goes down, you're all dead to me. And I made merch that had a picture of a fake nuke, a mushroom cloud, and it said, when the grid goes down, you're all dead to me. And I had a hoodie and I had a t-shirt. And then they banned it within like 3 hours. They banned it, so I never even got to sell my merch. I don't know. Maybe like that broke the rules. All it said was, when the grid goes down, you're all dead to me. But I wasn't allowed to make that shirt. That's one of the slogans here, guys. Because really, I'm not really super worried about the AI robots. I think the space war is going to happen, but it's not going to be like the end of the world or anything. What's really going to happen, what's really going to be the big, the great equalizer is when the grid goes down. When the grid goes down and there's no power or running water, I believe, and there's a book about this, it's called The First, Jamie always tells me about it, and I haven't read it yet, but it's called like The First 24 Hours or something like that. And it's basically what's going to happen within the first couple days after the grid goes down. If there's no power and running water, what will happen? And I've wanted to write a book about this myself, and just a fictional book. Of course, it'd be fictional, but I've thought about this a lot, like what I would do in this situation, and some, prepper survival stuff, because I'm into that sort of stuff. But it's interesting to think about. But the book says, and other people kind of agree with this, and I agree with this, that 70% of the population would be wiped out within 90 days. Within 90 days, and I'm talking globally, no electricity and no running water. Within 90 days, 70% of the population would be dead. And then 30% would be the strongest 30%. Most of it would be people killing each other, raider groups, violence in the streets. A lot of people would be scared to go outside, and they would just starve to death. If they're not prepared for it, everybody in the hospitals just going to be stuck there, and lots of people would just, it would just, like dominoes, people would just start falling off. And then when the smoke cleared, about 30% of the population would be left. But then the problem is, those people are the strongest people. Those people are the survivors. And if you come across those people and they're not nice, they will murk your ass. If you're like me and your plan is to go up into the mountains and hide out for 90 days and then come back when the smoke clears, if you don't have a squad, if you don't have a base set up, then the first group that you come across by yourself, they're just going to kill you and take whatever you have. Unless you got high charisma points, if you allocated some skill points to charisma, you could sweet talk your way into joining their tribe. So that's a possibility. Anyway, been warning this since 2007. I live next to the largest freshwater source on the planet. Well, that's good. The Pope is always someone who has never been married. Step cool. I have high charisma. Yeah, you got to put points into charisma and intelligence, not just strength and endurance, because you got to be able to talk your way into the raider groups after the smoke clears. Right? You guys played Fallout. I've played Fallout. I've streamed Fallout. You've seen it. All right, guys. Last, alleged Houthi rebels say a U.S. airstrike that hit Yemen prison holding African migrants kills 68. Darn. Yemen's Houthi rebels on Monday alleged a U.S. airstrike hit a building holding African migrants, killing at least 68 people and wounding 47 others. The U.S. military said it was investigating the strike in Yemen's Sada governorate, a stronghold for the Houthis, is the latest incident. Darn. Are we playing Fallout? The points thing? Yeah. Yeah, basically. That was the reference, James. Yep. No free water, no free land. We're all now free land. COD Gaming warned us. COD Gaming warned us. Anyway, guys, I gotta go. Couldn't really spend as much time on some of those stories as I wanted, because I think because we watched some of that debate in the beginning of the show is why I didn't have time to really go deep into any of those rapid fire stories, but that's fine. It's the 3-year anniversary of the show. It was a chill, laid back show. And yeah, we've covered a lot of stuff. Maybe this weekend we'll have like some flashes of the past and watch some clips from some old streams and see go over some of the topics that I've gone over the past 3 years. I've been saving all of my my past show notes. I've been saving them since December 9th. So for every week, all of the articles that I talk about, I have them saved now. So I can see, like, on January 6th, we talked about the Bourbon Street terror attack or whatever in New Orleans. Cybertruck explosion. That's what we were talking about on January 6th. So now I can see what I was talking about each week. And then I also saved past research folder for the final segments that I've done. I've been saving these for about a year. So I have a folder, Christmas Around the World, CBDC, Centralized Digital Currency Research, Kalam Cosmological Argument, Ontological Argument, The Prodigal Son. We did a show about that. David and Goliath, Easter is not pagan, Easter resurrection stuff, stargazing. We did a show about stargazing and why it's not good. Racism does not exist folder. Pol Pot during our Dissecting a Dictator series. Pol Pot, Vladimir Lenin, Mussolini, Hitler. The most disturbing Bible story, Judges 19. And we did that in the Bible reading show the other day. We read that. Hosea and Gomer. Did we find Dyson spheres? Gender affirming care. Are there levels to sin? Jacob and Esau and Jacob's ladder. Church taxes. That was for the 501c3 debate. The history of Independence Day. Jesus the Tecton. Not a carpenter. Stoneworker. Free will. PMD and Osh, the conformity experiments, and Project Mockingbird. We did a show about those. I got 2 big folders on Tim Walz and Kamala because I wanted to do a Tim Walz and Kamala versus Trump and JD debate, but it kind of happened, but never was a formal one. Muslim versus Christian. I'm building this folder, but I don't want to do that debate until I finish reading the Quran, which I haven't been reading it for a while because I've been reading the Bible, but most notorious faith healers, the Shroud of Turin, simulation hypothesis, arguments against God, the underground ocean, last Thursdayism, that was a fun one. CPS corruption, philosophical razors, lots of different folders in there of segments that we've done. But like you knew PFP hot, I don't know what that means, but I do gotta go, guys. I have questions. I've got answers, but you're gonna have to ask them later. Let me see if there's somewhere I can raid you to. Redirect. Buff is streaming. Looks like the debate is over. Buff never comes around no more. Sarah or Buff? Sarah hosted that debate. Toxic masculinity debate. Anson is streaming. We'll send you over to Sarah because she moderated the debate. Raid us to the chair. Just leave us with chair all night. Chair all night. Maybe we'll do that next week. I owe you guys another chair stream. So next week, next Monday, after the end of the show. But I want I like these to just be standalone streams with just the show. If I do that, what's going to end up happening is, well, we'll do that next week. You kind of remind me of Hake if Hake was younger and less awkward. Cool. So you know who Hake is. Is that how you found my channel? I watch Hake a lot too. I've been watching all of them for like 6 years, 7 years, 6 years. Less awkward. Hake's my guy. All right. I'll send you to Sarah next week. Next week we'll do, after the show, I'll just leave the stream running for chair and you guys can hang out in here and chat and watch the chair all night. But I wasn't planning on doing that tonight. So we'll send you over to Sarah. Put some chairs in her chat. And I don't know how I found this channel. I don't know how you found it either, but you know who Hake is. So maybe that's why I popped up in your algorithm or something, because I'm over there a lot. Yeah. But anyway, God bless, guys. Thank you for hanging out. You heard it. Chair stream next week. Yes, sir. All right. I'll see you guys later. We out. Peace. I know we're going, but